Hello, hello. Testing 1, 2, 3. Good morning.
Morning, cunts. Good.
Well, thanks.
All
Bright and early. Please.
Oh, he's desperate to get in. It's very keen.
I have seen him.
Very
He's-
keen to
I
come
think
in.
he was looking at the women's heat draw, just swatting up.
When are we coming on, Wezzo?
Morning, everybody. Once again, we will be starting at 10:15 with 30-minute heat. Ladies first. Ladies first. Muito bom dia a todos. Bem-vindos ao MEO Portugal Cup of Surfing. Este é o segundo bom dia para vos avisar que começamos às 10h15 com a segunda ronda feminina, ronda de pescagem feminina, com baterias de 30 minutos. Paddle out time 5 minutos. Assim, quem está na água, os free surfers, têm cerca de 15, 20 minutos de free surf ainda. Mas pedimos quando for a hora de sair para saírem, voltarem para a terra ou para o barco. Desde já muito obrigado e curtam. Attention all free surfers, you have about 20 minutes until we ask you to leave the competition area. Ladies in heat 1, you may check in pretty soon. Make sure you get your temperature checked. And heat 1 of this round 2 elimination round will be Carolina Mendes and Ariane Ochoa. Ariane, no, okay, sorry. The first heat will be Rochelle Presti and Camila Cardoso. Rachel Presti and Camila Cardoso will be the first heat of the morning, starting at 10:15 sharp. Set your watches for 30-minute heats. Thank you. This is a test. This is a test. That was a test.
It's a very warm welcome to Portugal, the MEO Portugal Cup of Surfing, live from Ericeira, Portugal. Ribeira Dilias is the spot. Paul Evans in the studio for the call. Joining me, my mate Ben Mundy. How you doing this morning?
I'm
Tudo bem?
Tudo bang. Very, very excited, Paul. Day 2, plenty of action. I'm pretty excited, as always.
So competition got underway yesterday, an action-packed day, a little bit of drama going on as well. Some big scores up in the excellent range. Ben, you mentioned it. CT bloodbath on the men's side and a few upsets on the women's side as well.
Yeah, exactly. That's you never know what you're going to get. There's so many great surfers from Europe, a lot of up-and-coming talent. And as we saw yesterday, some of these young guns, well, they're taking out the heavy hitters. So, which for us today means that some of those CT guys are in later on. And there's some, really sort of impressive younger generation of the women as well. So very exciting day ahead.
We talked about those two sort of generations, some of the established stars. How good is it for the young and up-and-coming crew? Chance to have a sort of a free hit almost at one of the big dogs.
It's an amazing opportunity for these European surfers. There's so much talent in this part of the world, and to get the opportunity to surf in good ways against some of the world champion CT stars. And on the webcast, of course. So yeah, it's a real opportunity, and they're really embracing it. They're not in awe of it. They're up for the challenge.
Let's check out some highlights from yesterday. Day 1 of competition got underway under sunny skies, and some big statement performances going down. A few upsets in the mix as well, and Ribeira Dilias providing us with some consistent surf throughout the day.
Yeah, well, exactly. There was some good waves. Still a bit of swell coming in, light offshore breezes, and it was all set for go. There's Vasco and Kickash turning up, and Atle Law, she was impressive yesterday. Here she goes. She after this heat win on a big backhand crack, she came in and gave us 30 minutes of her insight in the booth, which was amazing. Of course, Carolina Mendes from Carcavelos, she was good in there with a Jeep leader jersey. And what a warm-up from Yolanda Hopkins, and she can see she's happy, she's smiling, and she surfed really well. And she did this classic drop wallet turn of the day.
Going into the excellent range with a big manoeuvre for Yolanda Hopkins from the Championship Tour in that Jeep leader jersey. Paulinado as well. No slouch, dropped a big 8 of her own. She's looking in very fine fettle, loves the right-hand point break. What about this one with Teresa Bombolo? She's looking like she's ripping.
Yeah, she really was, and she warmed up over the course of the heat. She got better and better. That smooth style that we know. This is a home turf. She'll be very, very dangerous. Obviously, Ramsey Bulkane. I think this might have been the highest score of the day, Paul. And the Moroccan, you spent some time in the booth with him. He seemed pretty happy with his lot right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Waited 15 minutes to get going, at a really quiet start to his heat. And then 2 waves turned the whole thing around. Went up to the excellent range of that 8.67. That was our EDP wave of the day. Great to see Jadson back in competition as well. Got a late call up, Ben.
Yeah, came in late. There's Lau as well, another CT. But these CT guys just couldn't quite come except for this man, Italo Ferreira, the world champion, the Jeep leader jersey, and he was absolutely on fire. Big black square tail, blowing that square tail out of the water every single wave, every turn almost, and yeah, he was electrifying.
And putting it all on the line as well, Italo. Almost dry docking it on the rocks. Really good value for his shot straight into the quarterfinals. Vasco Ribeira's had a ton of competitive success at this venue. Well, we had his work cut out yesterday, as did this young man right here. A CT winner, a Championship Tour star. Kanoe Igarashi didn't have it go his way yesterday morning.
Nah, not at all. He, he tried. He looked on point, but this man, Maxime Husino, was just too fast and too strong. So yeah, he's all smiles. And there, the local hope, Federico Moraes, he came out strong. Looked like he had a hold of the heat, and then until he didn't. And a late starter, Aritz Aramburu, riding a twin fin. the veteran just came up, and he's so stoked. And it was a big victory. Freddie wasn't happy, and he had some competitive fire, but he'll be back today. So what a day!
Yep. Aritz Aramburu coming in the Tom Curran role, riding a twin fin shaped by Daniel Jones over there on the north shore of Oahu, and looking really, really good. Don't count Aritz out. He's always a force in competition, and using all that experience, he loves this wave as well. Just really enjoying being here. And obviously we've been talking about Ericeira and the World Surfing Reserve, and the various riches available from a natural environment point of view, Ben. But we've actually got some important work going on now with the Oceano Azul Foundation. I'd just like to explain a little bit about what the movement's about.
Yeah, well, it was started in 2017. It's a foundation that aims to put the ocean first. Its motto is about putting the ocean's point of view across, and they have various campaigns of literacy and education and awareness. And in the United Nations, they signed up some big organisations to join in, and we're proud to support it. And there's going to be $20,000 going to go to this foundation. So yeah, it's a brilliant organisation.
Let's take a look at a package about Oceano Azul and some of the great work going on here in Ericeira.
The ocean. It once covered all of our blue planet. It is the origin of life on Earth. For billions of years, it has shaped our landscape, our atmosphere, our planet. It influences every single known life form on Earth. With every drop of water we drink, every breath we take, we are connected to the ocean. And if we listen carefully, we realize it is filled with sound and voices.
All right, Oceano Azul, and what a cool activation that is. Great to have $20,000 donated from the World Surfing, from our competitors here towards Oceano Azul. Great movement, that, Ben.
Yeah, that was emotional, Paul. What a beautiful planet we live in, and what a beautiful ocean we have to protect. Yeah, Rise Up for the Ocean is one of their flagship sort of programs. Go to the website, check it out, and become aware, help out, and the WSL and the competitors have, amazing contribution to that, world cause.
Great to see the surfing family pitching in together to save the planet. Let's start to cast our mind over some of these heats and some of these matchups, Ben. And speaking of rising up, who's going to do it from the pack today? We've got some great looking matchups. Of course, we're going surfer on surfer format today, and it will be our round 2. So surfers unable to get a win early on in the heats in round 1. What are we looking at in terms of matchups?
Yeah, well, in the sudden death elimination round, and the men's is looking absolutely stacked, actually. We're going to start with the women's today, but just to go through what we can look forward to after that, Jadson Andre and Vasco Ribeiro in the first heat. So Vasco Ribeiro, one of the Portuguese greatest ever surfers. Jadson Andre, CT star, 11 years on the circuit. He's been training with Italo Ferro for the last 4 or 5 months. He's fired up, so that's huge. I'm really excited about that one.
Heat number 2, I love the look of this matchup. Championship tour surfer out of Italy, Leo Fioravanti taking on Henrique Pirate, the local boy.
Yeah, Henrique, it just lives and breathes this wave. Sort of grew up here and loves it. He'll be dangerous. He'll be a goofy, big, tall goofy. He's got some power on him against Leo. And yeah, Leo, obviously CT star, one of the favourites, but he'll be nervous about this because you can never discount a local wildcard.
Heat number 3 is going to see Kanoe Igarashi, another CT surfer, couldn't get a win yesterday. He's taking on Gatien Delahaye. Gatien is in really good form, was ripping at the French rendezvous last week. That's a great looking matchup.
Gatien is such a dangerous surfer, especially in these conditions. He's got a really, really big air game. I know Kanoe Igarashi has too, and he knows this wave inside as well. But I just think Gatien, for those sort of viewers out there who haven't seen a lot of his surfing, he's a really explosive, really charismatic kind of a guy. So yeah, Kanoe, that's a very difficult matchup. Can't wait to see it.
And our final heat for the men's, an all-Portuguese affair. It sees Frederico Moraes, another championship tour surfer, taking on Afonso Antunes.
The king in the air, yeah. I mean, Freddie came really close yesterday. Lost. He was upset. It shows you how much it means to him. He's pretty fired up about these events. But Afonso Antunes, he's 16. He's from this Ericeira, from this town. He knows the wave inside out. His father was quite a famous Portuguese ripper, and so he's got the credit. He's got so much talent. He's got the caliber, and yeah, Freddie is going to need to really put on the line to beat the young sort of upstart.
And then thinking over to the women's division, which we will be starting with today, we're going to be seeing Rachel Presti take on Camila Cardozo. There's Rachel right there, surfing for Germany out of Florida. And those will be the women out in the water making up that first heat. Rachel Presti is one of the really impressive surfers. Yesterday was unable to get through, but she's found some great waves, Ben.
Yeah, she's been surfing really well. She was so smooth. She was on form. And really liked her style. This point break suits her style, so she's going to be very, very dangerous. Camila Cardozo, less known. This is an amazing opportunity for Camila. Hasn't surfed against these probably caliber of surfers, and so yeah, she's got a lot of work to do. But you'd back Presti on that one, I'd reckon.
And then coming up in heat number 2 for the women, we'll see Carolina Mendes, another surfer that ripped yesterday. Really unlucky not to get through a really tight heat. She's taking on Ariana Achoa out of the Basque Country. It's another great looking matchup for those who know a bit about each other.
Yeah, exactly. They've surfed a lot together. Carolina is not far down the road, sort of 40 minutes down the road, knows these waves again. She's really smooth, quite a low centre of gravity, but super smooth. Got an aggressive turn in her. She'll be, and she surfed well yesterday. So that's another quality matchup.
Our third heat for the women in this round 2, we'll see Yolanda Hopkins out of Portugal taking on Francisca Veselko, another Portuguese. Two of the kind of young, up-and-coming talents out of Portugal. Who's going to make a statement move out here in round 2?
Yeah, it's interesting. We talked about these sort of less-known surfers and the opportunity they've got, and that's a classic case of both those surfers. This heat win could be one of their, more sort of bigger wins of their career. There's no points or prize money off it, but just in terms of profile and exposure. So they'll be nervous, and if they win, they get through to go against some of the best CT stars in the business. So big for those two. I can't call that one.
Our final matchup, we'll see Neda Aristobe taking on Mifal Lopez. Another good clash of young European talent. In the meantime, we're going to go down and hear from our roving reporter, Diogo Patrocinio.
Yeah, good morning, guys. Good morning, Paul. Good morning, Ben. I'm here with Miguel Forte, contest director. Good morning, Miguel. Yesterday we had round 1, men's and women's. Today we've been on hold for 2 hours. What's going to happen today?
Yeah, we've been on hold because this morning the swell wake up really slow. and the forecast is that the swell is going to pick up during the day. So we're going to start with the round 2 of ladies, and we're going to put the rounds 2 of men's in standby, and let's see what happens.
And doing a bit of futurology, we're trying to finish the contest tomorrow with the new coming swell.
Yeah, tomorrow the forecast is a really good solid swell, like 5 to 6 foot. The wind is going to be light onshore, but I think everybody will like that. And we're going to finish tomorrow for sure, because Friday will be a big storm in Portugal. So we'll finish before that.
Okay, thanks, Miguel. You heard the guy. It's on, man. It's on.
All right, thanks, Diego. The assured tone there of Miguel Fortes. And Ben, I mean, I don't know if you're feeling, got a bit of a cold or you're feeling poorly, you can't sleep. I might get a little bit of audio of Miguel Fortes and just sort of play it in my ear just to sort of soothe me off.
Yeah, if you're feeling a little bit anxious about things, even though there's a storm coming, like, well, that's fine. If he's driving the ship, we're sweet. But yeah, so tomorrow's looking absolutely good swell. Doesn't mind the onshore breeze, as he said. We're going to get through the elimination rounds, and yeah, a bit of futurology. I think we're looking good.
All right, well, we're all set to go here. We've got round 2 of the women coming up at Ribeira de Ilhas. Tide's bottomed out. It's going to be filling in. Conditions should be improving. Join us for live action, the MEO Portugal Cup of Surfing, right after this commercial break.
Counting up to start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. David, start. Começou a bateria primeira do dia, é a primeira da ronda 2, ronda 5. Na água do torneio, Rachel Presti, da Alemanha.
Welcome back to Portugal, and we are underway here live from Ericeira. It's the MEO Portugal Cup of Surfing. A great time to shout out and thank to our sponsors who've come on board to make this event happen. Of course, part of the Euro Cup of Surfing, MEO, our official partner for the World Surf League. Red Bull, our official energy drink of the World Surf League. Jeep, official partner of the World Surf League. Let's not forget Tourism of Portugal, another official partner of the World Surf League. And of course, EDP, official partner of the World Surf League. We do have our EDP Wave of the Day award each day as well, Monday. But let's cast our minds to this matchup. Scintillating.
Yeah, Presti versus Cardoso, that classic. Yeah, Rachel Presti grew up in Florida, but represents Germany. Smooth, natural footer. Yeah, just got a really nice style. She's got a good forehand swoop on her, and she's quite experienced. We've been on the QS for a while now. We've seen many heats of Rachel, and she has got the capacity to fire up and be really explosive. So
probably bringing a little bit more confidence into this one as well. She got some good scores yesterday. She lost narrowly to a surfer with a big score. By contrast, Cardoso had a bit of a shocker, didn't she?
She looked nervous, to be fair. Yeah, Camilla came out. The waves were a little bit tricky. She's on the backhand, so a little bit of a sort of a tricky read on some of these sort of waves, especially on the low tide. But yeah, so I think she would have processed that. She would have talked to friends and family. You know, she would have surfed this wave so many times as a junior and free surfing. So yeah, she's ready for reset, and she's ready maybe for what would be considered an upset.
Let's see how we go. 30 minutes on the clock when we started this one off. Slightly more kind of somber proceedings in terms of the atmosphere today. We do have a little patch of blue sky there over the horizon. Hopefully we'll get some sunshine poking through. In terms of the waves, Ben, we've seen a couple of sets. There's a bit more period in the swell. Swell's on the rise as well. So I kind of direct to Miguel Forte. So we're optimistic, getting a nice pulse through the day.
Yeah, there's more waves coming for sure. This tide, in the break, from what Miguel tells me and the locals, is that sort of those mid tides where this wave sort of links up the best. And of course, you know, we've got the opportunity to run 8 heats today, and that's going to be exactly in that sort of best sort of tide window. So you're hoping that, yeah, as the swell builds a little bit, that tide fills in, there'll be, yeah, super fun waves. And we saw some in the free surfing, even on the low tide, there was fun waves. So yeah, I think it's going to be fun.
Check out the bottom of the screen there. That's our matchups for round 2. Of course, elimination at this stage. So we'll be sending home 4 surfers from this round 2. We'll be sending 4 other athletes into our quarterfinals, take on the winners from yesterday. MEO Portugal Cup of Surfing. And it is the Euro Cup, part of the World Surf League's countdown series. So stoked to be back in Portugal. Let's see how we get this Wednesday morning underway with a couple of sets stacking up on the outside, a little readjustment in terms of position. I wonder if they've maybe flipped a coin for the inside, a little bit of rock, scissors, paper. What do you think, Ben?
Well, it didn't look like it the way Camilla was really trying to get that inside. Bit of a paddle battle, no priority at the start of the heat. Looks like Camilla was sort of went out to try and get that inside, and she hasn't got that one. Could have been a mistake, or they sort of paddled too far out. You're talking about that readjustment, and they've missed the set because of it.
Can be deceptive, can't it, Ribeira de Lias? It's not a traditional point in the fact that the sets don't necessarily start at the top of the point and wrap in. They actually come through the gap a little bit. There is quite a big gap between that wave up the point and our contest venue. Meanwhile, here we go, Presti getting underway, live action. A good-looking wave from her. Essen down the line, and she'll be eyeing up a section here. She'll find one with a nice little wrapping arc off the top from Rachel. Looking for an inside runner, which isn't forthcoming, but a nice smooth opening turn from her. She will draw first blood in this elimination round, heat number 1.
Yeah, she sort of did a lot of S-turns, going through here, just finding her feet, and she was kind of caught between maybe doing one big turn or trying to do 2. And in the end, she kind of did neither. I mean, let's hope that won't count in her scoring sort of wave, but she's got the first wave under her belt. That's the style we know from Presti, and she'll be back out trying to improve on that pretty quickly, I'd imagine.
Yeah, definitely. But already getting a little read on this slightly sort of tricky lip line. Sometimes this wave, it tends to look like it's a little soft section, and then it will pick up speed and kind of run away pretty quickly. It's always in the back of our competitors' minds whereabouts to put these turns, how many turns to try and fit in a section. Just the one manoeuvre there, rewarded with a 2.83 from our panel. She'll be hoping not to hang on to that for the moment. It's an early start for her. Priority is assigned to that young woman there on the screen out of Corcovela, Camilla Cardoso. And we've been talking about Portugal being host competition of all levels for a number of years now, and some of the rewards of that locally are the new generation of talent that have been inspired.
Yeah, that's, you know, one of the great hotbeds of surfing, not just in Europe and in the world really. The professional sort of surfing, the commitment to professional surfing by the government, by all our sponsors, by the WSL, and by the local people has been phenomenal over the last decade. And yeah, a direct result of that is that there's just this upcoming surge of great Portuguese surfers, and we might not see it for another 5 years, but they're there. So it's really exciting times for this great maritime nation.
All right, a little foamy number up the top of the point. We've got a bit of interest here from Camilla Cardoso. She's not going to get on that one, and out of position there, and a little bit disappointed not be able to get something on that wave for her as time will tick away. Under 23.5 minute mark, still searching for a wave. She'll lose priority as well. So not exactly the reply she was looking for.
Worst possible start for Camilla. She tried to get inside at the start of the heat and try and put a bit of authority onto proceedings. And then that kind of worked in her favour because Rachel got the wave that wasn't that good. She held priority, and then set came through and she paddled for it and missed it. So immediately hands the the baton over to Rachel. She can pick the next wave and take a bit of control of the heat. Plenty of time, but that's just inexperience. That's what happens when you're a bit nervous and you really want a strong start. And she's just made a few sort of little errors that hopefully she'll be able to learn from and bounce back from and reset.
A little bit of texture out on the ocean surface as our wind will maybe start to pick up a little bit. Blowing kind of cross offshore this morning. through the valley here at Ribeira del Dias, because one of the things that makes this place such a classic venue is the fact that it can handle that kind of cross onshore stuff, that sea breeze that will come up in the afternoon as well. Super consistent wave, this one, Ben, and that's why it's such a go-to for events of all levels.
Yeah, it's an amazing place, this wave. Like, even when it's 6 to 8 foot and breaking out the back, rifling down the line, learners can still go up the inside reefs and sort of be catching like little 1-2 foot foamies. Just hold that thought, speaking of foamies. And that's Camilla's up and riding.
Backhand attack, a softer looking opening section, a little redirection in the pocket. There's another one. Trying to keep that board going and stay loose. Look down the line. See if she can pick up a section. And she'll ping a little redirect onto a bit of white water. Keeping quite close company to those sharp rocks down here at the end of the wave. So a little bit of a reply from her. More manoeuvres. Not overly convincing though, Ben.
No, she got away, a bit of a late takeoff, but she did well. Came around the corner here and then she's waiting for it to stand up. This is probably the best section here. Got 2 turns, but not a lot of spray, and you can see how she's keep pumping aboard. And now that you talked about how it runs off quite fast, and it did that, that meant that she could get a little foam climb in. But a 2.20, yeah, she needs sort of to get that more steep face and start swooping those turns a bit more.
Yeah, we saw that throughout yesterday. There's a real big difference in terms of scoring potential from the set waves, from the bombs. Those ones have a little bit that kind of double up line going across them, as opposed to the in-between. It's always hard to get the speed going. And without the speed, judges not really going to access very high on the scale. Scores in just a 2-2 for Camilla, so reasonably close so far. Let's hope this one fires up. We've nearly lost 10 minutes of our opening clash of the women's elimination round. It is Rachel Presti, Camilla Cardo. So out the water right now, Germany and Portugal. And if you're just tuning in, a very good morning to everyone, wherever you are. It's the MEO Portugal Cup of Surfing, part of the Countdown series. And a great chance to look at, well, a diverse cast of athletes. 24 of them started off from across Europe and much further afield. And what a great time to be in Europe, Ben.
Oh, it's prime time here in Europe. Absolutely, known for those. Summers are amazing, as you've just had a great summer up there in France where you're from, Paul. But just now, when these new swells start to come in, the offshore breezes come off the land, we get so many waves in this part of the world. And yeah, these women, especially looking forward to having a few more days and right out there. But I think the European women are probably, there's so much talent, but they just haven't quite hit their mark in terms of CT representation over the years. Obviously, Paulina Doe has been, flew the flag for a long time. Joanne Defay, who is, does surf for France, but is from Reunion Island. And, compared to some of the men's success that they've had over recent years, I'm really looking forward to the next batch of European surfers, women coming through and really going up against those top, the Hawaiians and the Australians, which have tended to dominate the women's sport over the last sort of half a decade or so.
Now, Ben, the question for you. I'm on a surf trip to Ericeira. I do want to catch some of the webcasts, some of the broadcasts, which I plan on definitely doing a bit later. But I want to go for a free surf, and the event's on at Ribeira del Dias. Are there other waves in the area for me to surf?
No, yes, of course, there's loads. Anyways, look at this wave for starters, and I'll answer your question after this, Paul.
We'll pick that point up after watching this live action and a nice rail jam from Presti. And she will just dip into her next bottom turn and realise that wave's going soft, so she'll flick off the wave. But a nice redirect from her. One manoeuvre, she's a clean carver. She's surfing with that board looking like it's going through the water really nicely for her. She's putting it in different parts of the wave on her manoeuvres. She just needs to link multiple manoeuvres like that together.
Yeah, she needs a combination. She's got that flow. She just put a few of those without the little stuttering turns in between, and she went up for a big score. But yes, Paul, you could go. You might want to go just over the. You head south. You head north. A right-hand point break. Can we mention on the area? It's called Cochus. It's a bit of the queen of the coast. But yeah, one of the Europe's great point breaks. That's just over the hill. Go the other way. A couple of crazy little lefts and reef breaks. A bit more for the expert surfers, but amazing ways. Further south, a couple of beach breaks, and then hop in your car, Paul. You've got Carcavelos, you've got Cascais. We can go up to Peniche. Super Tubes might be pumping. So within like an hour drive from here, there's everything from gnarly point breaks to gently rolling slopes for intermediate and beginners. There's every wind, every wave. Yeah, it's all covered, Paul.
Bunch of options on offer in Portugal. Proud as ever to play host to elite international professional surfing. It's the MEO Portugal Cup of Surfing. At the moment, it's Rachel Presti out of Germany in the lead and interested on an inside here. She'll stand up and let this wave hopefully do the same, which it doesn't really do for her. Just goes a little soft. Just decided to have a little speculation. Haven't really seen one of the better sets so far in this one. So we get down towards that halfway mark. Camila Cardoso now with the priority. And interesting for our surfers with slightly less experience, the use of the priority, Ben. I know it's a particular favourite of yours. But
Thought you'd never ask, Paul.
On surfer action, priority is super important.
Yeah, very much so. So whenever a surfer takes off, the other person or the other athlete gets the priority. So yeah, when you've got that little P next to your name, you can pick and choose any of the best waves, and the other opponent cannot get involved in any way, shape or form. And it's just the way you utilise that, the way that you pick the right wave, the use of priority, depending on the circumstances, can determine a heat.
Sure.
Can determine a world title.
How do we decide priority? Is it just our regular judges that assign it?
Paul.
Let's revisit that. We got live action here. Goes Cardoso on a bit of a meteor looking wave. Boomtown. And she'll smash the lip. And unfortunately, that one will run away. But nice bit of aggression there from her.
Yeah, that's a bit more of the form. She hit that pretty heavily and did well. But yeah, with the priority, there is a priority judge, a person assigned to that exact sort of role. So that priority judge will be looking closely at who's paddling, who's doing where, who's doing what in terms of the paddling and standing up. I think they do it's a 6 to 8 year master's course in priority judging to get your qualification. Once you go through that exhaustive process, you get down here and you get the big job.
Carolina Mendes getting ready for the next heat. She's got a clash with Ariana Achoa out of the Basque Country. I tell you what, Carolina was ripping yesterday. Really unlucky not to get through a tight heat, but she looks in great form. She's fired up as well. And one of the great hopes of Portuguese surfing, very well coached. She knows what she's doing out the water in terms of tactics, all that sort of stuff. And we'll check out live action. A little fade into the bowl here for Presti on her fourth wave. And a little bit frustrated. Tide's pretty low. Actually has a little bit of a high tide feeling to it at the moment, Mandy. Just a little bit of ruffle going through that lip line. Meanwhile, behind it, can Cardoso capitalise? The answer to that question is no, as that wave as well goes pretty soft. And we'll just sort of dissipate its energy. So as we get down just over 14 minutes and 40 seconds, it's still Presti at the moment. It's in second place, excuse me, because a 3-4-3 just dropped in for Camila Cardoso. See it on these screens there? It's only a narrow lead, but at the moment, it's getting there through into the quarterfinals. 14 and a half to go. Elimination round, heat one. We're going to go to commercial break. Join us for more live action from Ribeira Dilias right after this.
14 minutes, 20 seconds.
welcome back to live action. Smiling dial on Vasco Ribeiro as he assesses the scene. He's got a tough heat coming up later today. At the moment, it is women's competition out in the water. First heat of the elimination round of the MEO Portugal Cup of Surfing sees Portuguese Camila Cardoso at the moment in the lead. Not a classic so far, Ben. Pretty tough, this one. And it's very low scores at the moment. Best we've seen so far, a 4-3, 3-4-3, excuse me, for a backhand bash from Camila Cardoso. Let's hope a little bit of energy gets injected into this in the form of some sets, because we've been wave starved, kind of action starved so far. 12 to go on the clock. Priority is with Camila Cardoso. She's leading each, she's in blue, represent Portugal, and here she goes, up and riding backside, having a look at a little pocket. She kind of swoops back, puts some extra impetus on her rail, and that wave will fizzle out. There's been a lot of that happening, Wendy. And so far, I think it's fair to say, not a classic, this one.
Yeah, let's not claim what this isn't. It's just been a little bit slow. Our highest wave score of 3.43 for a single turn. So we're just waiting for those, that bit of the push and the swell, a bit of the extra tide, and it should improve. Difficult. You can switch on and off here, but still 11 minutes to go. Still got two very sort of talented surfers in the water, and I think we'll see a bit more action soon. A few of those lines start to stack up on the reef, and I'm still confident we'll see some fireworks, Paul.
All right, just over 11 minutes to go. Let's hope we get some energy coming through. Saw some quick vision there of Ariana Ochoa getting ready. She'll be fired up. Didn't have a great heat yesterday. Tougher conditions today. It's almost one of those days where maybe you don't want to study it too much. If you get a super slow heat, it's not really going to give you too much information. Maybe the best to do is don't really look at it too much before you paddle out.
Yeah, I mean, it sort of goes against every type of pro surfing strategy, but I like it. I like thinking outside the box. Yeah, maybe. I mean, you do have to rely on your instinct out there for sure. You have to readjust, and there's nothing like, no matter how you look at it, it's not until you're actually out in the lineup that you really do feel it. So I do get your point a little bit, but I think those surfers will be sort of watching it constantly, just trying to work out where on the reef, over the last 10 or 5 minutes that it's breaking. I do like the old sneakers and full-length steamer look, though. I think that's something that might catch on, but. Yeah, they'll be watching the seat, and then they'll go now reset, have a quick check before they go out, and then hopefully catch something. There's a couple of bombs now approaching. Let's hope for something here, Paul.
Presti uses priority. She's got a great looking wave here. Probably the best looking wave of this opening heat so far. She'll go down the line and get that signature carving maneuver. Now another section from her into the lip. A little flash of that board as she recovers from that maneuver. So our first kind of legit combination. And she only needs a small score of 2.81 at the moment for first. Just over 9.5 on the clock. Better looking wave there for Rachel.
Yeah, that looked fun, that wave. She surfed it quite well. I sometimes think I get a little bit frustrated with Presti in the way that she seems so talented and so much style. I think she just push a little harder. Even that one there, if she could just be a bit more aggressive in the turns. But she managed 2 turns and just couldn't quite get that third one because of those dry rocks, I might add. There was a section there, but it means you could get impaled on some basalt. So, she surfed it well, 3.83, the best wave of the heat so far. She'll be happy. She'll need to build on that. She'll need to surf, improve her surfing if she wants to get through this round and any others.
Under the 9-minute mark in our opening heat of the women's elimination round. Second day of competition from the MEO Portugal Cup of Surfing. Looking at the ocean so far, it's not going to go down probably in history in highlight reels of classic Portuguese competition. Nevertheless, there are waves on tap. We've got a relatively short waiting period that runs this week. Tomorrow looks like a classic. We're just trying to get through some rounds so we can really pick the eyes out of the tide and make the best of things. All smiles as we see a couple of mates there. Federico Kikash Moraes, Ramsey Bukim. Fred's got a job of work on his hands. Going to be taking on Afonso Antunes, the final heat of the elimination round. And I tell you what, Ben, you look down the draw sometimes, you just kind of see one that leaps out at you. Afonso Antunes is an absolute tear at the moment, leading the national tour here. 16 years old, a local from Ericeira. And Fred's got to roll up his sleeves.
Yeah, there's some warning signs there for sure. They look pretty relaxed. They look like some type of boy band filming a music clip there. But Freddie is so calm. He's so prepared. he's got that experience. He's made the final at J Bay. He's beat John Florence with the 10. He's he's won at Sunset. He's one of the most decorated Portuguese surfers of all time. So he'll be calm, but he knows he's got a big job to do against a young kid.
Live action, great slash off the top from Presti. That's more like it. Oh, and she goes harder on that second maneuver and gets an incompletion on that turn. You can see she's annoyed of herself. She's on her way to a bit of a score. I just like a combo. This is a good looking wave.
Yeah, best wave we've seen. The most speed she generated. Nice top turn, bit of spray, and then I was just saying how she hasn't been quite aggressive enough, and there she goes. She did try and up at the ante there, but then just came unstuck a bit late. Board looks like it came quite close to hitting her in the head there, the inside rail, but she seems okay. So I like the intent, just lack the execution.
All right, 650 remaining in this one. It's going to be a low number in for her. Let's see if she'll improve on a backup score. She does just slightly. It takes up her total to 6.7. That's for 2 waves. And at the moment, it's good enough for a lead so far in this heat. The Cardoso on the backhand. We'll need to find one of those little running waves, you reckon, Ben? She did get her highest score for one manoeuvre, but she's going to need to unlock some combinations.
Yeah, we did. We just lovely pan down the full length for this incredible reef. But yeah, she needs 2 or 3 turns at least if you want to get through. It's almost showing offshore. There's our judges, Paulie, up in there, the priority judge, all COVID secure. And eyes on the job, and they're watching that, and they won't have to sort of mark back down very much at all. In and out. Another poor decision from Camilla. The nerves starting to show again.
Camilla Cardoso trying to come from deep behind a section. It's really difficult to do at Ribeira Dilis. If you get behind the white water, it's not really a wave that's got much of a slope that you can kind of push off your fins and get out in front of. Once you're behind, you kind of tend to stay behind. Meanwhile, a nice looking wave here with a bit of steep shape. Presti down the line into the lip, gets there really late and doesn't get a maneuver done. So possibly there an opportunity to throw a couple more points up and just add a bit of pressure onto Cardoso as we go down towards that 5-minute warning, which is coming up soon. Moment it's still Presti in the lead, but I think she maybe could have improved on a score with that wave, the one we just saw.
Yeah, I think she had an opportunity there. One big turn can get scores. You can sort of see the intent, but she never really got her feet together. So another missed opportunity. It's Teresa Bonvalo. She looks pretty happy about life too, doesn't she? She's relaxed. She won yesterday. And Portuguese Hope looking relaxed and enjoying life. Paul, speaking of relaxing, if I might just maybe drive out of my lane for one moment and ask you a question. I'll save it up for the recap.
Let's check out a heat recap. Check out the story of heat number 1 of our elimination rounds. And let's see how it's gone down. It's not been a classic so far. This was a 3-4-3 from Cardoso.
Yeah, that was the turn where we saw what she's got, and that she's got an aggressive backhand turn, but that's the only one she's done. Presti has been picking off the better waves, I would say, finding a bit more open face to work with, surfing well when she gets a chance. But no surfer's been able to really show their full potential. Then again, pressing a nice wave here, nice top turn, and then just when she could have made the most of it, just went, fell off, made another mistake. So it's been error riddled this heat. Presti probably with the better opportunities, but with 3.5 minutes to go, or 3 minutes 50 to go, Paul, there's nothing in it. It's still wide open.
Break that 4-point mark for a wave? Let's hope so. It's been a really low-scoring affair. Of course, it doesn't really matter. All you got to do is get through. Once you do get through, just wash this off and sort of consign it to history as we see Ariana Achoa heading down the beach. She'll have these conditions sized up. She'll have found, at least sort of visually, made a mental map where she wants to find sections. Meanwhile, busier is Presti of these two, and it's paying off at the moment. She's drilling down the line. There's a nice big swoop again, almost gets caught, and she doesn't get that little runner section on the end either, unfortunately, from her. So another 1-turn wave. Don't think it's going to threaten her top 2. Comes in as a 1-something. That's actually her 8th wave ridden, so she's been staying busier, and it's paying off, but not by much.
Well, she's only because she's been lucky. I mean, that was poor surfing, I think. She's a better surfer than that, and that was just a sort of bit of fundamentals of riding a wave. I don't know if the nerves have got to her or she just feels a bit out of sorts. But that was a way that she could have, built a score on and made it very difficult for her opponent. She didn't. She got caught behind. I don't know if the equipment's not quite. Maybe she thought it had a bit more push or a bit more power than it does, and she needed a bit more volume or a bit more, flatter rocker board or something. But that's kind of inexcusable. Those type of errors at this level, Paul.
Harsh marker.
I hate to be, cruel. I want to be the positive guy, but these two surfers have surfed for 25 minutes. The top scores are 3.43, and they've made plenty of mistakes. I just think they need to, they're better than this. That's what I'm worried about.
I'm going to just put it down to waves. I think it's a little lack of energy in the waves at the moment. I think that's just really been reflected by our scores. Let's hope that improves as the tide fills in. We've been optimistic about this pulsing swell. Has dropped a touch from yesterday, but it's due to pick up back again. Miguel Fortes called it this morning. Could be good for tomorrow. Between now and then, what's the ocean going to serve up? 1:45 on the clock. The requirement for Cardoso, who's ridden 4 waves in this one, just needs a 3.28 bench. He doesn't need much. Needs something close to a high score. And that would put her back in prime position. Beautiful views of the coast here. If you look south from here, you're looking towards the capital, Lisbon. We're about 40 minutes or so north of Lisbon, with a bunch of big sweeping bays and beaches and reefs and all sorts of stuff along the coast. And of course, that coast of Portugal, which we've come to know and love. We do have that mobile format. We mentioned all those great epic spots available to us. Unfortunately, this is the best of it. At the moment, it's Ribeira Dilas, and at the moment, ripping, it's Camila Cardoso, who cranked a big one for her opening turn. What's she got on the inside? This is crucial, and she'll just clip it on the inside there. Now, you think the requirement, 3.28, is all she needs. She's already got a 3.43, Monday.
Liked it. See, that's what I want to see. There was a bit of pressure there. A minute on the clock or less, probably last crack, at getting in the lead. And yeah, she surfed it well. The first turn showed some spray, mistake free. Camera in the corner. There you go. Sort of digs her tail in. You can see the intent. She's getting a little bit stuck up there. Had to work for it, but finishes it, knowing that she did need a big score. She surfed it well.
Jumps to first, 3.7 locked in by the judges. And she goes into first place. Still hasn't broken that 4-point barrier, but nevertheless, it's good enough for an advancing spot. This is the elimination round. All you got to do is get through, as we see that low angle from the rocks there. And Camila Cardoso. And this will be Rachel Presti. And that looks like that's not going to provide. She only needed a 3.3, and she'll be annoyed. She surfed 10 waves in that heat and unable to get much going. And she'll be understandably frustrated sometimes. That's just the way the ocean can be, Ben. That's what we're dealing with. Our playing field, it's not a particularly fair one sometimes. You get what you get.
Yeah, it's the beauty of the ocean, and often those first heats are difficult. You've got no sort of reference points to watching what the scores were and where it was. You can see she's really upset, and that's a shame for Rachel. She had opportunities. She'll be disappointed with her own performance. No one to blame but herself, unfortunately. But, Cardoso, fair play. Under pressure, surf well, got the win, and the local girl, she's been in round 3, the quarterfinals, so she's absolutely stoked.
Portuguese flag flying with pride, and now a little bit of sunshine poking through at Ribeira Dilas. We're going to be coming back with more live action. Join us for it after the break.
The Euro Cup introduces the MEO Portugal Cup of Surfing, presented by MEO, the official partner of the World Surf League. Tourism of Portugal, the official strategic partner of the World Surf League. Jeep, official vehicle of the World Surf League. And ADP, official partner of the World Surf League.
Welcome back to the MEO Portugal Cup of Surfing. 30-minute heats for our elimination round. We pulled the trigger with the women, and it's heat 2 out in the water. Sees the Portuguese prospect Carolina Mendes represent Portugal, taking on Ariana Ochoa from the Basque Country. So these two coming from sort of opposite ends of the Iberian Peninsula. That woman there, a local to this part of the world, surfed really well yesterday. I'd put her down as kind of one of the unlucky ones not to advance. Now, can she carry that form over, Ben?
Yeah, I think she can. Definitely, probably, as you said, the best performing loser, if you can use that word, of yesterday. Surfed well, surfed really sort of smooth, got some good waves. Wave selection was all there. Just unfortunately got pipped at the post at the end. So, yeah, I'd put her in the favourite. But then, of course, Ariana Ochoa, we know what she can do. She's got an explosive couple of turns on her, some big spray. Those Basque surfers always back themselves too. She's got confidence, well coached. So, yeah, it's going to be a tight tussle. Let's just hope we get some film of those sets so these surfers can really show, their full potential.
Yeah, absolutely. A slow opening heat. Let's see if this one fires up with a little bit more energy from these sets filling in. We've been talking about this swell picking up throughout the afternoon. And if these two can find some opportunity, we know they got the surfing skill set to access further up into the range from our judging panel. So far, the judges have been unable, really, from what they've seen this one, to get overly excited. And positioning at the start of the heat, Ben, we saw that last one kind of had an inauspicious beginning, really, didn't it? With our athletes getting caught out. These two, important not really get too deep up the point. Kind of got a little bit wide and inside.
Yeah, you're right. The two girls in the previous heat sort of both went out for those big waves, missed waves, and you never really recovered from some of those early mistakes. But let's see if these two athletes with probably a little bit better knowledge of the wave where they can change that. Looks like Mendez on the inside, and she'll start the heat, Paul.
Here goes Carolina Mendes. Nice little entry into this one, and already hitting the gas, looking down the line at a section. She just kind of delays, and then a little snap straight into a bottom turn, using that rail again, just whipping back into the pocket. Good section here for her. Takes on the lip. It's a little tweak of the tail as well. She'll finish on dry rocks. Mundy can't believe it. She's putting everything on the line, and she deserves some numbers for that effort.
Really solid start. Well, yeah, she surfed so well. So first off the rank, flies. You see those fins even when she's driving down the line. First sort of swooping turn. Classic Mendez. Comes around the corner again. There's that cut back. And then she just sees a little bonus section. Tags the lip. And then you're going, she's not, is she? And then she's got such control of the board that she can just even like do a half turn, pull the fins up, and come back. So just smooth. I mean, that wave wasn't easy to surf, but every single pocket she waited for and tagged at the right time. So, and just really looking strong. What an opening wave. So we'll see where the judges put that. That's going to be the point of reference for the rest of the heat. But no doubt she'll be happy with that start.
All about eking out opportunities. Just look at where she put her board throughout that wave. She was always in the kind of energetic section of the wave, wasn't she? The board speed was good throughout. And the judges are going to stroke their chins and have a good old think about that. Could be a good number dropping for her. And a great start to the heat. 24 and 10 on the clock. We've got a little set just shaping up on the outside. Let's see if Ariana Ochoa can get herself on this one. It's a good looking wave from the surfer out of Bilbao. And here she goes, dips into the bowl, slightly awkward off the bottom. This section will now drop in front of her, and she'll tweak a little snap, but really from the get-go on that wave, if you don't get drilling down the line early on, it's a difficult wave to surf. Meanwhile, right behind her, she won't enjoy this sight. It's Mendes streaking down the line. Nice little clip up in the lip, little free fall energy to it. And again, she absolutely smashes that last section, and I'll be very surprised if she doesn't have some board damage in there. She is putting commitment of unbelievable levels here, Mundy.
Well, I mean, yeah, she's all right. She's okay. She's checking that board. Of course she is. I mean, yeah, I hope that. But it looks magic, that board. So
she's just dry docked herself again. over the reef.
That one was committed. She didn't pull out of that one because she was extra turn. It was really well surfed, I might add. So straight up and over the lip. Comes in, that's a good turn. Here she goes. Now she's eyeing off. Will I do it? Of course it will. And that's committed. Finishes, and then there. She's on dry dock. So committed. I mean, this is absolutely incredible bravery. This wave of Ariana, I mean, she had to go. It looked like a set wave. And sometimes on this reef, this just happens. It just ran off, and she was sort of making the most on a backhand, but couldn't get any open face. But, yeah, it was Carolina Mendez who has been absolutely on fire so far.
Live action. Ochoa here looking to make up some ground. She could be on the wrong side of a couple of decent scores from Mendes, and that's probably not the kind of surfing that's going to get her there. Tricky on the backside. While the judges process those numbers, we're going to go down and hear from the winner of the last heat, Cardoso.
Camila, first of all, congratulations. It's always hard to be on the first heat in the morning, especially when these low-scoring hits. How was that there?
It was kind of hard, but there was too many waves, but many of the waves were small. But if you wait, you could catch one good one, and it's nice. Yeah.
And how important it is to keep the priority during this kind of hits?
It's good because if you wait for the good one, you will get a bigger score, and that's what's important here. They only count 2 waves, and that's if you catch one big one, it's what matters the most.
Okay, and now round 3. What are your goals for this contest?
I received an invitation, so I'm just surfing my best and give the best I can do it. So I don't have like any goal for this championship. I'm just learning with the other ones for next year, be able to surf even better in this type of conditions and competitions.
Okay, thanks Camila. Congratulations again. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Diogo. Scores in for Mendez. And a big number for her last effort, 7.33. Let's hope that board's all right. It looks magic. And she's already got a very healthy total on the board, 12.5. She's absolutely ripping. Ochoa, can she get fired up? She needs to find something. Plenty of time left as she'll go looking at a section on the end. Nice little tweak at the tail there. And she'll tag it a couple of times. Good energy from her right through to the inside, and not shy either. I'll tell you what, that rocky section.
This is nerve-wracking.
It's almost as if they're being lured onto that rocky section on the end. Good jeopardy at the end of the ride, Ben.
Yeah, I mean, this is a good wave. She's a bit further down the point here. A little bit fat, but she starts to wind up. She makes one mistake a bit down here. That turn, so she's on a bit of a roll here. It's this turn here. She got a little bit hung up. And then there we go, down to the graveyard section. And like the commitment, I mean, you know, it's extra point. I mean, that 7.33 from Carolina, that last turn was, you know, that was a big part of that. So, yeah, I like it.
Our judges, they can be tough, but I'm not sure it's compulsory to dry dock yourself on the reef to get a score out here. I think there are points early on the wave. Let's have another look at this 7.33, Ben. A lot to admire on this.
Yeah, just came around the corner here. It was a lovely wave. She comes to this last section, as we said, and just hits it before those rocks. Now, their speed, flower, speed, power, flow, and dry docking is a new criteria. And look at that. I mean, I like that she's trying to paddle over that. I mean, whatever you have to do, she's doing it. And then she just sort of checks the board. We're good. And I'll tell you what, we'll see what she does in the next section. We saw Italo Ferreira, the world champion and current Jeep leader jersey wearer. He hit the rocks a few times yesterday, but nothing like this commitment that these female athletes are showing.
Some great local ding repair in the surf town of Ericeira. Let's hope not too many of our competitors require their services after today's action. At the moment, 18:40 on the clock in this one.
Well, we might need some geologists to check the rock repair the way these athletes are going at it.
And a good number in for Ariana Ochoa. 5-point ride for her. So she's got herself back in this. And there was a little danger maybe of Mendez just kind of running away with it. And Ochoa getting herself a 5. And she is a fierce competitor. She will not enjoy hearing those good scores read out for her opponents. So she's thrown a 5 up on the board. She's put herself back at this. Does need a 7.5 now, Ben. How's she going to do that backside? Let's just try and think, get away from hitting that end section too much. I don't think that's going to be like a prerequisite for a score. She just needs to find a runner and get some good turns done early on.
Yeah, exactly, Paul. I mean, she got a 5 point for that last wave, and it was that third turn. If she'd actually clipped that clean, I think it should have been up near the 7 point mark, or maybe a 6 at least. So it's not a massive improvement. Just those type of waves she had, and a bit more clean connections.
Fired up here, under priority, likes the look of an inside run, and this is what we want to see from Ariana. She'll belt one off the top, low slung bottom turn. There's a vertical stab. I do like her intent. She'll go incomplete on that wave. But I like the fact that she's fired up here and she's deciding to try and do something about this deficit in terms of points. At the moment, it's 7.5 her requirement for first place and a shot at the quarterfinals of the MEO Portugal Cup of Surfing, part of a countdown series, the Euro Cup. And swell is on the rise. Our winners from opening day competition, at the moment they're afforded the opportunity of just kind of chilling, taking it all in, watching. We are deciding the remaining quarter-finalists in this elimination round. Women's first, the second heat of 4. We've then got 4 heats of the men's. That's all we've got so far from our contest director. And we'll see how we go with conditions throughout the day. 16.5 to go in this one. Carolina Mendes, who was ripping yesterday. We wondered what she'd bring today. She's brought back exactly the same fire, maybe even a little bit more. Can she carry on? Can her show a comeback? Find out. More live action right after this quick commercial break.
Welcome to the show.
All right, here we go.
Let's do it. For me, going to Chopu, I kind of say bring it on.
Billy is being treated in a hospital.
You look famous.
I look famous?
Yeah, you don't.
I'm ruining my vibe.
Oh, yeah.
Show you guys some of the secrets.
Come check it out.
Welcome back to Portugal. Sunshine in the late morning here. An autumnal feel to proceedings. And a little pulse of small swell in the water, hopefully on the rise. It's the MEO Portugal Cup of Surfing. It's elimination round for the women. And one of Portugal's bright prospects. On the women's side of competition, Carolina Mendes opened up pretty strong in this one. Looking decent so far. No waves to bring you during the break. She's still just sitting on 2 waves. And a healthy total of 12.5 at the moment. So only an improvement on a 5.17. Wave offering that will be the kind of thing she'll be interested in. She does have priority as well. Ariana Choa was a little bit on the ropes in the early exchange. She's got a 5 of her own. And she looks a bit fired up, Ben.
Yeah, they both have been really committed. Good scores on the board. After that first heat was a little slow. We've shown that the conditions look a bit more favourable, even with this new tide. And yeah, both surfers showing real intent, real aggression. I've been really enjoying it.
So a little bit, kind of turn the heat down onto simmer, put the lid on. Things gone a little bit quiet on this side so far. Just thinking about their numbers, Ben. You look like you've got a question.
Well, I did. I was going to say before, when to go out of my lane slightly, but when you said, where can you go surfing? What would you do in the local parts? I was going to ask you, Paul. You've had your surf.
Yeah.
You've had a great, fun session.
Yeah.
Hour and a half.
Yeah, I got a couple.
You got the latest wave. You got loads of waves. You're ripping.
Yep.
for your own standard.
How did you
where
go?
would you go afterwards?
How did you go?
I wasn't happy with my performance, but where do you go afterwards? What do you do? What, you've got some time in this beautiful part of the world.
After checking out one of the great vegan cafes in town, I'd probably maybe do a bit of birding up on the cliff here, a bit of bird watching. I brought my binoculars down, Ben. A great time of year for migrations in Europe, of course. And a lot of the birds that do migrate up in the northern part of Europe actually stay all year round in Iberia, in Portugal, in the south of Spain. So
see some goldfinches, perhaps?
Yeah, absolutely. A charm of goldfinch is the collective noun for a group of goldfinch. And some great seabirds as well. Interestingly, at Ribeira d'Ilhas,
You're not going to talk about a herring, are you?
there's quite a lot of herons, actually, out to sea as well. They're normally much more of a freshwater species. So good birding, a beautiful natural environment. And, mate, I mean, surfing and birding, what else do you need in life?
Nothing, yeah. Oh, there you go. That surprised me, that answer. But yeah, exactly. I mean, I like the sort of coffee scene, maybe go for a lovely lunch, some beautiful food, maybe a little glass of chilled local Portuguese white wine. But, you know, horses for courses. There's so much to do in this part of the world. There's beautiful waves, there's beautiful coasts, and there's nature, and so much to do. But there's action in the water, Paul.
12 minutes to go in this one. Ochoa in the slot. She's got second priority, though. And Mendes wisely says, do you know what? That's me. And she's got a good lick steep section. Tags it hard. Almost looking a little bit Vasco Ribeiro-esque as she hit the lip on that one. But unfortunately, she'll go down. Meanwhile, behind her, have we got an immediate reply from Ochoa? Decides not to burn that priority on that particular wave. Probably a good call from her. And she'll reposition in that lineup. Still plenty of time on the clock, but that requirement of a 7.5, that's going to loom quite large in her mind. She's going to need to go at least a couple of points better than her high score so far.
Yeah, exactly. There's some pressure on, and you know, but she's got it in capabilities. She's already shown that she's willing to do anything, whatever it takes to get over the line. So let's have a look what they've got.
Yeah, let's have a look at some of the commitment already shown in this heat. It's been jeopardy in the form of dry rocks at the end of this wave, and that woman there has been no slouch whatsoever in taking it on. A bomb wave for her.
Look at that. Commitment, Paul. I love to see the aggression. Look at that, driving off the bottom, hits the lip, smokes it over, and she wasn't that far off. And I'll tell you, if she makes that, that's a massive, massive score. One turn, as Joanne Defay, the current Jeep leader jersey wearer, shown yesterday, can get you big points. And she went for it there, Mendes. I like it. When she's not slamming a board into dry rock, she's smashing, you know, lips and getting the fins out the back. It's you know, it's exciting, it's aggressive, it's great surfing.
We wondered if she'd be carrying that form over from yesterday. She's absolutely done that. She stepped it up a couple of increments as well. We saw her down early with her coach, sussing things out, scoping out the sets. And she has got a bit of fire in her belly. She's definitely got her eye in terms of the conditions as well. She knows which waves she wants. Let's see if Ochoa can come back at her. That requirement of a 7.5 is a pretty reasonable one. She's going to need to find a set wave and get some good manoeuvres done. You mentioned possible to go into the excellent range with one turn. Yolanda Fay nailing that yesterday as Yolanda Hopkins coming up in the next heat in an all-Portugal affair. She'll be taking on Francisca Vasalco. And Yolanda, she brings a lot of aggression to her heats.
Trying to keep a straight face, isn't she, in front of the camera? Your co-commentator as well.
Had her in the booth yesterday, giving us a little bit of insight into growing up and surfing around the Portuguese coast. Meanwhile, someone that's done plenty of that to good effect. It's Carolina Mendez, the heat leader. She's up again with some speed. Nice little rail jam from her. High line in the pocket. And again, little slash. And she'll snap that one. And just trying to basically get out of those rocks by trying to avoid them before she got there. She's just about done that. But I tell you what, her commitment is unbelievable out here. This means so much to her. And flying that Portuguese flag with a plum at the moment, leading this heat. And taking on a dangerous section on the end. Let's have another look, Ben.
Yeah, Mendes coming around the corner here, driving another good wave. That first turn, good setup turn here. This next one, just got a bit stuck. And she's got so much speed, she can't just kick out. So she tried to just, you can see the force trying to get the board out of the way. Unfortunately, so much power on these waves, and she's just ended up there back on well, they call it Mendes Rock down in there. And she's stuck again. She checks the elbow, checks with some skin off. She's putting it all on the line, and yeah, really good commitment. I think she's such a great surfer, and we've seen her for a long time. She's like one of Europe's really young talent now. What is she now? I think 22, 23, Paul. I might be corrected there, but she's got experience now, and she's got CT capabilities. Formerly surfing under Carlo Henrique. He has changed the name to her grandfather's Portuguese name. Her brother, was a great surfer, Pedro Henrique, and still is. So I think she's got the ability to go all the way. She just needs to, and get a few big heats, big wins together on the QS, and she's a possibility. And you can see by her commitment and her ability in this heat alone, she can go all the way.
Score going to come in for her. Doesn't quite improve on a low score. It's a 4.83, so it's not going to affect her top two. Just the level of commitment really has been one of the stories so far in this heat of our second day of competition. It is the elimination round. You lose this one, you're going home. And at the moment, it's Ariana Ochoa facing. That's around about 7 or 8 hour drive up back to the Basque Country. As we see Vaselko sizing things up. Just trying to figure out which waves to go. I wonder if they've had a conversation about the end section, about the rocks.
Yeah, well, I think they'd be like, okay, do you need to do that? I mean, if it's on the line, the coach's like, you do it. If you want to, if it's 0.5 a point in it, you hit that conglomerate. That's what I think they're saying. But I think as the tide comes in, the water pushes a bit more over that reef. I think won't be quite as much jeopardy as we see some sets out the back, Paul.
Sets stacking up at Ribeira de Ilhas, the MEO Portugal Cup of Surfing elimination rounds. And a swell filling in for us here on the famous western-facing shores. We had that opportunity for a mobile format of the whole range of coastline on offer. Unfortunately, not a classic chart. And we're at the old faithful, Mr. Consistent, Ribeira de Ilhas. Meanwhile, here goes Ochoa, belting one. That's nice from her. She's got a good section here. If she can get there, she arrives late and smashes it. And she really needed to make that. That was a really difficult turn to do. She'll be disappointed. And not able to get a completion on that second maneuver. But I tell you what, she's up for this, Ben.
Yeah, this is really well served. She couldn't have done much more of that. She got the turn in really tight. That meant she late. She went for it right in the pocket. Just hung it up a little bit, so hopefully she'd come down, but she got stuck here. Look, I'll tell you what, if she rode out of that, then she would have been sort of there or thereabouts for the score she needs. 7.5. It's a big number, but that were two big turns. Unfortunately, she couldn't quite get there.
A short paddle out. Plenty of time left for her. 5:20 on the clock as we see the heat leader streaking down the line from a high line position. Little float for her, trying to get out in front. And that won't be any more points on the board in terms of her top two. That'll be another throwaway for Mendes. Meanwhile, this one's fired up. Here goes Ochoa. And this competition really coming to life in this heat as these two going at it now. It's what we like to see. Some nice backhand hits from Ochoa. And she'll go into a little lip line floater maneuver and herself right on the rocks in there. And that, again, is just the level of commitment. Incredible from these two. It means so much to get a win out here. Let's have another look, Ben.
Yeah, first turn was a bit soft. It comes around. I love this one. Right on an opponent's face. And a bit later than the next one. And hangs up, survives. It will improve her second score. You think, here's Rock Cam. I love this. She drives around the corner. Shows you how close it is. Belts it again. And then just comes up. And is that our cameraman Vasco Ribeiro just sitting in a rock pool. Just right up there with his scuba gear on, just nestled like a little barnacle on a rock, getting all the action, and yeah, great surfing. Not a 7.5, I wouldn't imagine, but maybe gets her a little bit closer to the goal she needs.
Yeah, but she's at the task, isn't she? She's catching waves. She looks fired up. She needs a score. She's bringing the aggression. The good numbers coming her way. She's going to improve on her high score, and that means she's going to bring down her requirement. She's going to leave herself needing probably around about a 6. It comes in as a 5.9. She needs a 6.61. It's good surfing from the Basque. Will she have enough time? Will these sets continue to come in? Arlena Mendez, who started so strong, and just in the last few waves, she had a couple of stumbles, just leaving that door a little bit ajar for Ochoa. Don't want to be doing that, Ben.
No, not at all. She was a little bit unlucky with that last wave, Mendez. It was a big set wave, and it just ran off on her. But yeah, you can see Ochoa's starting to get a bit of head of steam up each wave. She seems to be surfing better. The scores have been improving, 2.6 and a 3.5 and a 5.9. So she's improving. Times against her, but you can get a couple of set waves here in a couple of minutes. A paddle out short, it's still very much going to go down to the wire, I think.
Just goes to show when you get a good score drop early on in a heat, just adds that energy, that vital energy to proceedings. Let's check out the story of this one in the heat recap as we go under that 3-minute mark. Just remind ourselves, been pretty good right from the get-go, Ben.
Yeah, Mendes started off really strong on the first wave of the morning. Bit of an open face, just S-turn. Just always connected with the right sections here. And tagged it again, and this is where she was already signaling her sort of intent to hit no matter what. That one she got away with. This one, better wave, but a gnarly result inside. Look how much speed she gets, Paul. Just drives out. Those green fins are flashing through the Ribera waves, and here she hits it, and then boom, right onto the rocks. So good surfing. Choa, she had a slower start, but she's fought back in the back half. Came around here, that backhand style, more spray, a little bit of hang up there, but still managed it. This is a 5-point ride, so got her back in the game. And then this is the one, the 5.9, that has made this last 2 minutes super tense. Scalps it in the pocket. Just a little bit late again, but does it. Right near the rocks again. And it's leaving us with just on 2 minutes on the clock with a pretty fascinating sort of battle, as it goes to the wire.
Great ding-dong, 140 remaining. It's still Mendez in the lead, 6.61 the requirement for Ochoa. She's in second priority as well, so she's going to need to find herself an opportunity out here. Red Bull safety team just keeping an eye on things as ever. Out here in Portugal, a lot of power in the ocean. And we do have our Red Bull safety team just maintaining things for all our athletes. On rocks down here as well. And a fire in the belly of Ariana Ochoa as she belts one from under Mendez's priority. Tags a nice section there. It's a good couple of hits. Not sure I saw 6.6 on that, Ben.
Not a 6.6. She surfed it really well. She had to pull the trigger. There wasn't many option. She's gone down swinging all the way to the end. Yeah, she surfed it well. Let's have a look. 6.61. It's a big number in the scheme of things. It was a little bit tight, that one. This one, she went for it, but didn't get any sort of fin release, or there was no real flare or wow factor. It surfed it very, very well, but 6.61. We'll see whether it could be a bit of a last gasp victory. I'm not sure.
Yeah, the wave not really providing the energy for the score required. Judges will think on that, but we're not sure we saw that requirement as time will tick away here. She's given a great account of herself. Mendes dropping that bomb early on has really put her on the back foot, but she's responded admirably. Surfed really well throughout this one. Let's see if Mendes can just see this out. Countdown now, just 5 seconds on the clock. I'm not sure. We'll get another wave ridden, and Ariana Ochoa will be a little bit annoyed to lose. If you're going to go out of competition, at least go out swinging. That's exactly what she's done here, and that'll be it. Let's wrap things up for Heat 2 of the Elimination Round. And that one, what a contrast to our opening encounter of the morning. We had a slow heat to start off, and we had an absolute smoker in that last one. And this woman here carried on. Great form she was in yesterday. She was unlucky not to make it through the round one heat. And she's been ripping down here today. She looks so fired up. The equipment's good. That's a deadly combination, Ben.
Yeah. I'm assuming there's not a series of puncture holes all through that pollen board of hers. But yeah, she looked great. The board looked, super fast, super loose. Everything seems to be moving in the right direction. So I'm interested to hear her interviewed to talk about a commitment to that end section. But yeah, strong result into the quarterfinals, and she'll probably get a rest. Well, she will get a rest today. So she's done well.
We're just waiting on the official results to come in from our judges. I'm looking forward to Diogo's interview and getting the lowdown on that rocky section down there on the inside. But just loving their commitment. That's what we like to see. It means so much. And prepared to put physical harm up if that's what it takes. Both of our athletes surfing so well in that one. And rip their way. That woman there. We're going to be coming back with more live action It's heat 3 of our elimination round. It's going to see Yolanda Hopkins taking on Francisca Veselko. It's the MEO Portugal Cup of Surfing. The sun's out, waves are on the rise. Join us for more live action after this.
Okay, so last wave of blue scores a 5-8-7, not enough. So officially red first, blue second. Ariana, escarregaste o produtor. Parabéns. Next week, get ready to start too. Your attention to the countdown to start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Para os anúncios e comentários, agora obrigado, Nuno. Todos que temos na área, esta é a dica aberta.
And a warm welcome back to the MEO Portugal Cup of Surfing Round 2, Heat 2. Official results, Mendes gets it over Ochoa, not a whole load in it. A good heat, that one. Exciting from the get-go. Some good scores going down as well. Some great surfing commitment, the watchword. And that'll see Carolina Mendes out of Portugal through to the quarterfinals. Ariana Ochoa, she surfed well in that one, unfortunately. Came up against a young woman on a bit of a tear. Brown, you heat out in the water. Kind of new generation of Portuguese talent. Two of the young up-and-coming prospects, Yolanda Hopkins, Francisca Veselko. Those two will be... They'll have seen what went down in that last one. They'll know there's good points on offer. Let's see if they can unlock the potential of Ribeira Dilias. Francisca, of course, coming from Carcavelos, just down the coast in Lisbon. And this is just a straight shoot, 40 minutes or so up to Ericeira. And Hopkins from Carteira, further south of Lisbon. Not such a well-known surf area. She was in the booth and she was remaining pretty tight-lipped about some of the secret spots, Monday. Didn't want to give it up.
Yeah, I just like that. It was like, come on, give us something. Show us some of these secret spots. She was like, no way. Fair play to her, man. It's all good surfers should keep your secret spots to yourself. They're not called secret spots for nothing.
Half-hour heats, lines coming in out of the North Atlantic. Let's see if we've got any takers here. Might be a little bit far out on this one. Yolanda Hopkins is, as is Veselko. Meanwhile, right behind it, it's our view from the drone. And we'll see a reposition from Hopkins. She looks like she's in the slot here. And she is up on the forehand into that powerful bottom turn. She'll drive off the rail and then eye up a really steep section. That's a great hit from her. Good recovery. She'll go low and strong and just ride that one out. And then meanwhile, Veselka had a little look right behind, but she took a risk taking on that section there, Ben. Impressive.
Yeah, it was really good surfing. Strong start, quite committed, quite aggressive. Busted the fins out. She came down here. Look, nice bottom end turn. Gets a sweeping turn in. She's got those arms wide out and then hits this one. It's a shame. Like, she got around it. If it had another open face, she would have had enough sort of speed to do that, but unfortunately she ran off on her. But good surfing. Sort of kind of style, I would say, a bit like Thomas Hermes, the Brazilian former CT surfer. A wide open, sort of wide arm stance as she swings those cut bucks around. And yeah, you know, committed, good surfing, and you know, all caught in the first couple of minutes of the heat, which is exactly what you know you always set out to do.
So an opener there for Hopkins, couple of turns for her. A little extra pep in her step as she makes her way out the back. You've seen how well her surfing can translate onto these tight little steep pockets at Ribeira Dilias. A little unlucky herself yesterday in her opening heat. Saw her ripping a couple of waves. Unable to get that coveted first place spot. That's why she's here in the elimination rounds. That's Veselko. with a job on her hands out here to get past Yolanda Hopkins, who looks fired up. Score to drop for each of our athletes, just over 26 and 10 on the clock, so loads of time out in the water. Let's hope we get a little more activity in terms of sets as the swell will push in. The flooding tide should kind of help just ease this swell in, and we're going to picking up throughout the day. Tomorrow probably looks like the best of our window, and guess what? Miguel Fortes has got it all neatly mapped out, so hopefully maybe we're about to finish and crown champions tomorrow on the best day of the window. How about that?
Yeah, classic Fortes. Yeah, now there's swell coming. We've been a little bit unlucky in terms of the winds this whole week. This has been a constant stream of northerlies, quite strong, and as soon as there's so many great places to surf in those winds, but it does just narrow your options down. Obviously, we're a mobile event; we could go anywhere, but yeah, those north winds just take a lot of those sort of north-facing beaches and reefs and swells out of the equation. But tomorrow, even with a bit of light northwest, light onshores, it's still going to be 6 foot pumping waves on this reef break. So yeah, classic Portugal. Even when it's not epic, it's still really, really, really good.
Really
so,
even scores coming in for the opening waves. Yolanda Hopkins 4.17 for her. Francisca Vasalco marginally better, a 4.33 for Francisca. So very similar sort of opening waves. Francisca getting the nod there, Ben.
Yeah, just edged it actually. So strong starts. Both sort of only a couple of 2-turn combinations, I think. So we'll see late takeoff here from Vasalco. She waits for it. Driving down the line, big wave, actually one of the bigger waves we've seen of the day. Hits the lip and just finished off that one turn. So short and sharp, but showed her intent, like her aggression, as she only had that one section to open up on.
Selko, a 4.33 for that turn. Just a little glimpse of what she can do. She gets herself an open face. And flashes of brilliance yesterday, but unable to really put it together into 2 good scores. Let's see what she can do in the elimination round. A bit of added pressure, out of competition if you don't get through this one. Meanwhile, up and riding and flying down the line is Hopkins. Rail jam off the top, and again puts that board up. Similar sort of wave so far to her opening effort. Almost sort of a carbon copy, Ben.
Yeah, she's just always a little bit behind the section. Even when Yolanda took off on that wave, you just saw it sort of bending back towards her, didn't sort of run down at a nice even pace. So even though she was staying busy trying to get those turns in, it always just felt she was just like it's just a half a second behind where she needed to be. Basic story of my life. There she goes, a nice little turn there, and straight away she's just a bit behind the section she needs. She still hung it up there, but that means that it's not going to go into that kind of good range, you wouldn't think, because she never really clicked with that open face.
From the drone, just checking out that attack from Hopkins. Nice little combo turns, 3.33. The judges are rewarding that, so pays off slightly under her opening wave. But you can see in her mind, she's all about the lip line, about taking on the lip. And I think it's a pretty smart tactic out here. As open face turns and not a huge score earner. Will be the aggression to the lip. It's going to get paid off that degree of difficulty. Critical sections of the wave. Little set kind of feathering up in here. This one will go under these two, but we've got some lines heading with a little bit more impetus. Slight increase in vim and vigour from our North Atlantic groundswell as we get down towards midday, get towards lunchtime, Ben. Lunchtime, your favourite time of the day in Portugal. And while we think on that, we're going to go down here from Diego, who's standing by with a very impressive Carolina Mendes.
Yeah, that's true. Hit winner. A few weeks ago, you win here on the Nationals. Carolina, it seems whenever you go to the rocks, you always make the hit. So it's part of the strategy, that commitment to get through the hits.
Yeah, I think it's part of the game. All the time here in Ribeira, with the high tide, the end of the wave, it's kind of like close the rocks. But I'm pretty happy to meet my heat. I'm feeling amazing to competing home. It's a pleasure. So I'm just kind of enjoying my time here.
And tell us about how important it is to have guys like Nuno Telmo and David Raimundo on your corner in contests like this.
yeah, Telmo was like, oh, just catch the
inside waves.
Yeah, the inside waves, but it's good to have them close to me. They have like a lot of experience, so I'm feeling good. It's good competing home. Just trying to get some waves.
Next is going to be finals days. How you feel about that? What's your goal for this contest?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be some waves. Just trying to like have fun. I like to surf in Ribeira. It's kind of one of my favorite waves in Portugal. So just trying to enjoy, catch some waves. I think I'm going with Joanne again, maybe, maybe.
So good luck for that. And that's it. Carolina Mendes, heat winner of the previous heat.
Thanks, Diogo. Strong surfing, a thorough debrief, and a scintillating matchup in the quarters. Meanwhile, live action, ripping one off the top goes Hopkins. And she is so committed to these maneuvers, getting a lot of rail in the water. She'll belt a lip as well to finish off. She's fired up with that good stuff from Hopkins. Just during that cross, we had a score come in for Veselko. It's a pretty healthy one too, 6-5 for Francisca, who ripped a wave. We just caught the end section of that as well, didn't we? She had a tricky turn to do on a steep little double up on the inside. She did it really well, Ben. 6.5, good number.
Yeah, big number. The judges paid that execution that way, even though she stuck it and got off quick. But I think the judges are factoring the fact that there's a 3-metre dry rock shelf just in front of her. But yeah, she's had to really. But you know, what a comeback here from Hopkins. She drove around. That's a nice carve on the open face. Another one here. Digs the rail in, hits the foam, and then she just tags it at the end. A nice sort of flow to close out their entry. So, also, you know, really, what a great comeback after she saw her opponent log a good score.
Good ding-dong battle here. Really enjoying this. Love the speed and the aggression from Hopkins. Veselko, maybe just a touch more amplitude in her turns, a little bit more flow as well. It's really interesting to see how this one pays out. 19 on the clock. As we see your heat leader Veselko prior to that score coming in for the last wave of Hopkins. At the moment, Francisca's got the nod over this lady, but the requirement 6.66. As we see another rising start of Portuguese talent with Mifal de Lopes. She's coming up in the next heat, taking on Nadia Aristobe. So two of the exciting talents out of Portugal. Little encouragement there from her compatriot Mendes. And Mifal de Lopes. She's been in good form this season and last. Of course, would love to get strong sewing down here in Portugal. Really strong support from the home crowd for the Portuguese surfers. Got a bunch of them coming up in this event. The men's side of the draw too. Still waiting for an official call. And we're going to see the men's elimination round. Big names. Portuguese surfing in that round. 18-10. In the meantime, number in for Hopkins. It's a good one. 6.1 for her. 6.1 for Yolanda Hopkins. And this one really evenly matched, Ben. See the spread on the scores there. And I'm loving the way these exchanges are really close. Looks like we've got a great heat on our hands.
Yeah, you get these heats where each surfer sort of gets a score, and then the next surfer gets one just above or just below. It just tends to go when actually tends to happen when the waves get a bit more frequent and each set wave are similar. And yeah, it's really tight. Everything that Francisca has done, Hopkins has fought back equally strong. So it's very tight. You know, approaching the halfway stage, and yeah, as you can see by the scores, it's 0.5 a point between the two. So, and they've still got more in the locker. I think they're both surfing well. If they can get a couple of sort of bigger of those open set waves, we could see some really, really big numbers.
17-10 to go in this one. And after a slightly gloomy start, pretty slow on an opening heat, the sun's come out. A few more sets on offer. The scores are heading north where we'd like to see them. Already in the good range in this one. A couple of sixes for the high scores. There's a purposeful readjustment from our athletes as they head up the reef here at Ribeira de Ilhas. Hopefully they've seen their sights on something. Of course, you see up from our drone shot at the top of the point there, a bunch of surf schools and free surfers getting the shred on. There's Nadia Aristobe. Out of the Basque Country, all smiles. She'll be strictly business when she gets the World Surf League Countdown Series Euro Cup jersey on. At the moment, looking very relaxed. Good way to be before you hit the water.
Yeah, I mean, just loving life here in Portugal. But yeah, she did. She's a big smile. All prepped. Got the boards ready. Got the wax on. 16 minutes to go, so she'll go down. She'll have a good stretch. Look at the conditions, and be fired up for the last heat of the elimination rounds of the women's before we make a call on whether we see the men's and see all those big CT stars start to hit the water. Which I'm personally pretty excited about, to be honest, Paul. We haven't had elite level competition all year for the reasons that we all know so well, and just to get these events back on and see some of the world's elite performers all really going for it. They've come in. They haven't treated this as some type of novelty event. They've actually it's a countdown series. They've actually all been super fired up. Italo Ferreiro's flown over from Brazil for it. Yeah, it's just great. You sort of you forget that this wasn't here. This wasn't here 3 or 4 months ago, and it looked a long way off. But now we're here. We've got the best surfers in. It's all happening. I'm excited.
Let's go to break. We're going to be back with more live action. It's Heat 3 of the elimination round from the women. Vaselko leading Hopkins. Join us for more after this.
Time call now.
Welcome back to the beach. Ribeira Dilhas, the location for our mobile format of the MEO Portugal Cup of Surfing out in the water. Great looking heat shaped up in the opening half. 2 Portuguese up-and-coming surfers, Francisca Vaselko at the moment, with a narrow lead over her compatriot Yolanda Hopkins. But really evenly matched so far this one. Let's hope we get a strong finish as well. The ocean providing us some sets. But we've got a little bit of activity out in the water. And we see an unusual setup. We see Jadson Andre, the Championship Tour, arriving. Slightly unusual with the social distancing, physical distancing. All of those measures in place. Of course, we've got big biosecurity protocols for athletes and staff on the countdown series. And we're really lucky to be back. Ben, you touched on the pro surfing shaped hole that was in your life for a large part of this year. And without meaning to go too personal, what did you do to fill that hole? How did you make up for that sadness, that void? What sort of stuff did you get up to, Ben?
Oh, a lot of gardening. Got back to nature a little bit.
Digging in here hard goes Yolanda Hopkins. Live action, driving off the bottom, belting off the top. Little tap of the tail, boom. Goes another turn from her. Double pump bottom turn, another hit from Hopkins. And kicks out down the end of the wave. Meanwhile, right behind her, with a maybe slightly bigger opening section. Here goes Vaselko. And she'll use that rail with a nice arc. Now the wave will stand up. She'll belt the lip, just using that sort of residual speed from the first section, just fling a bit of spray. So 2 maneuvers, not quite so much lip, a little bit more variety, and then a very earnest paddle. Ben.
Yeah, Vaselko first. First in the replay, she took off after Hopkins came around 2 sections, did well. I think you'll find that Yolanda Hopkins, surfer in Portugal in red, got the better of this exchange. She took off, had more turns. First turn was strong, bit of a lip line. You said she loves hitting the lip, doesn't she? She's always quite vertical. And in this case, there was not a lot of open face. She got 3 turns in, got a 6.10. I know on her last wave. I'm not sure it's going to be better than that, but she connected. As you say, she just loves launching through the lip. That's her sort of style. That's what she prefers, and she did that on that wave.
Marginal gains. This one close so far. And an improvement by a little bit of measure on a backup score for Hopkins. Comes in 5.67 for her. For that aggression, she is rewarded. There was just a slightly slower pace to Veselko's wave, you would feel. Let's see if that's reflected in the score. Just not quite as much impetus to her surfing. Her backup is a 4.33. Judges will be deciding if she improves on that. I don't think she'll be threatening a top score, but Hopkins will go into the lead. She'll also pick up priority as well. 11 on the clock. Number comes in. It's under for Veselko, so she won't improve. So Hopkins now. That aggression's paying off, Ben.
Yeah, exactly. She connected 3 turns, got a 5.67, and leaving her fellow Portuguese surf netting a score. So yeah, I liked it. I think she's been building. She's been consistent. She hasn't made any mistakes. It's been a solid performance.
You got into the gardening. I know that you had a little dabble with some sourdough. You got a little bit into the sourdough as well, didn't you?
Yeah, did the sourdough. Still got the culture. Still going well. Yeah, been probably just down to 1 loaf a week. I wouldn't say I've mastered it. It's a lifelong mastery. It's like surfing. You never reach the top of it. You never stop learning with sourdough. Been enjoying that. I've also been let's face it, I've been on the WSL website a lot. There's so much, when elite events wasn't there, WSL filled that hole pretty well. I mean, not just stuff I was writing, which I enjoyed personally, but some of the other stuff, all those, the Dawn Patrol series, you could get to still get access to these guys. So it wasn't events, but it was still good to be connected with it.
Absolutely. 9:45 remaining in this one. Advantage Hopkins at the moment. She's put a little bit of daylight between her and Veselko. Now needs 5.27. 5.27 the requirement for surfer in blue.
Your sourdough, you talked up a big game pre-heat, pre-sourdough, but how's it been going with you, Paul? I tried to give a few
You might not be that surprised, Dylan. I actually took slightly more of an innovative approach. So a lot of people, yourself included, quite conservative, but I got more into crepes and chapatis and pizza bases and different stuff. Let's check out the heat recap. 9 on the clock in this one. Let's see how it's gone down. It's our 3rd heat of the elimination round. Veselko looking strong early on.
Yeah, late takeoff. There's only 1 turn, but she made it count. Loads of spray. Unfortunately, couldn't get the second one in, so that was her strong start of 4.33, and she backed it up with this one. She's getting the big waves, the biggest waves we've seen of the day, really. So her wave selection's been great. Nice carving turns. This has been the highest scoring wave of the heat. 6.5, I think. See, I don't know if they actually called that a completion there, because that could have been a bigger score. Meanwhile, very different approach from Hopkins. Nice open face. She's been trying to attack the lip a little bit more. It's one of the few ways where she got a bit of green face to work with. And as the trademarks sort of shut the door. And there you go, a bit of fin release. Up late again, just blasting through the foam and finishing off. And that's the way that's got her in the lead. Not by much, I might add. But with 8 minutes on the clock, these two have been fighting it out. Each sort of set wave has been with very, very close margins. And yeah, I think we're going to see a few more sort of topsy-turvy exchanges before this heat is done.
8 on the clock. Hopkins at the moment in the ascendancy. 5.27 still the requirement for Veselko. Yolanda Hopkins does have priority as well. She's in the red singlet. She's interested. Here comes what we thought was a good looking wave. And that one a little bit slopey and soft. Good call not to go on that one. Hangs on to that priority. Here's another looking wave. She'll be deep on this if she decides to go. She's going to be behind. And that one will just rattle off wide down the point. So no takers there. These two sit very close together. Veselko might want to just reposition a little bit here, get herself maybe sit slightly wider, pick up some of those things.
Yeah, well, the combination of the new swell and the tide pushing in means that it focuses a little bit further down the point, perhaps. So you've got to constantly readjust. You see those lines coming in there from the Atlantic. I think the period's still around 11 or 12 seconds. Although no, it's not a big swell in terms of size or amplitude. The period is still strong. As you get over here in Europe, a lot of our listeners who have sort of stayed up all night in America and Australia, they like a 12-second period over there is like a bit of a big deal. It's something to really get your hopes up. But over here, sort of 13, 14, 15-second periods are quite regular. That's why we get all the power. And even though the waves are small, there's push behind it, and there's more coming.
6.5 on the clock in this one. Francisca Veselko, looking at her on your screen with a pretty gettable score for her. She does need a wave in order to do it. They've just ridden the 3. 4 rides. Adversary Yolanda Hopkins waiting for an opportunity to fill in here at Ribeiradilas. Let's see if she can unleash. If she can get a score in between her 2 scoring rides currently, that'll be the number. She will, of course, that Hopkins can't improve. Priority is with Veselko now. A little switch there. Those two having a little chat. They'll know a lot about each other. A lot of competitions in Portugal. Various stages. And these two will have surfed a bunch of heats together. Rivalries are part of the reason why you tend to get kind of a generational thing. You get the crops of talent coming through together. As our surfers all push each other in competition, and outside of it, here's a wave to start grinding down from the top of the point. No takers on that one. Do need the ones that just come through a little bit wider and then sort of swing into the reef here at Ribilla. Let's see if Hopkins is keen on this one here. She'll ask a question at least by having a little bit of a paddle. And Veselka's not buying any of that stuff. Not phased at all. You can see that one didn't have much opportunity. And these two, sort of, by paddling and repositioning, they've actually worked themselves quite a bit deeper up the point here. Sometimes do see the bombs break a little bit wide. Let's hope they don't get caught out. As we see another one just kind of funnel underneath these two. Under the 5-minute mark, and it's still Yolanda Hopkins at the moment in the driving seat in this one, leading with a 6-1 and a 5.67. Priority with Veselko, the requirement 5.27. It's not a big one. Let's see if she can make something pay. She's been pretty patient though, just 3 waves ridden for her. Here goes Hopkins, she is up. Smaller wave, it's a softer wave. And Ben, she didn't have priority. She could afford to speculate.
Yeah, I think she's been trying to sell her opponent into a few waves there. Not a bad strategy with, you're in second priority. Still putting pressure on your opponent, even though she's not riding a wave. So getting in her headspace a bit. And no foul, no gain there. She took off, still back in position. And hopefully she'll get another crack as some more sets come in. Yeah, at that position, they are still moving up the point. You've got to sort of stick to your gun, especially with priority. I mean, you know where you are, you know where your spot should be, and you sort of have to have that composure and that mental fortitude to just stay strong, stick to your own game plan.
Under that 4-minute mark, still waiting for an official call. Find out exactly what we're going to do after the next heat as well. Men's on standby for their elimination round. We are looking at swell filling in throughout the afternoon, so let's see if we can pick the eyes out of it. We'll wait for an official call as soon as we get one. We'll bring it to you. At the moment, it is live action. It is heat number 3. And of these 2 young up-and-coming Portuguese talents, it's the one in red, Hopkins, with a lead in this one. Veselko now will just be starting to think, you know what, it's not a big score. It's 5.27, but time's ticking away. She hasn't really had anything like an opportunity for quite a while now. Let's see if she can remain patient. At some stage, she's going to have to go something. She does need a wave, otherwise she'll be exiting competition. Down to that final 3 minutes now, Ben. That's Veselko. She seems like a pretty cool customer from what we've seen so far, but how hard is it to maintain your nerves at this stage when you're on the back foot? You need a score.
Yeah, it's really difficult. You know, you're weighing up those 2 things, aren't you? The need for a solid 5.27 versus that ever-ticking clock. You're going to get forced into perhaps riding a wave that, you wouldn't normally go, and if it was at the start of the heat, but you got to get the score. So, we had so many waves, it was so consistent. Then, as soon as Yolanda got that last good wave, and that's how surfing goes. Francisco's put into second spot, and then there hasn't been a set since or a wave they've caught. So, quite nerve-wracking, especially when you're young and inexperienced, and this is a unique opportunity to A, showcase your surfing and B, progress through other heats and face some other really good CT sort of level opponents. But 2 minutes on the clock, there's nothing more she can do. She has to be patient. If a wave doesn't come, a wave doesn't come. That's not in her control. But yeah, so far she's showing the right stuff. It's whether she can execute when a wave comes her way, which is the very difficult part.
Okay, the patience game being played at the moment by Veselko. Not needing a big number, but just having to kind of sit this one out. Doesn't really have any options either. There's not really a chance of hitting another peak or padding to the inside or at a beach break. You might start to think about maybe trying to find something somewhere else. Ribeiradilas, right-hand point. Basically one takeoff zone, really. As we see that wind. Generally what happens here, one of the reasons why it's such a consistent spot, one of the reasons why, despite being mobile, we've come here. If you get a little bit of kind of cross-shore wind, almost a sea breeze out of the north, this valley here will funnel the wind back offshore. You can see that in the Red Bull windsock. Just funneling the wind offshore. So normally in the car park or even at the contest site, the wind will actually look slightly more ashore than it might look when you look at the ocean. And that's all that little local effect.
Yeah, there's that river that cuts through the valley, doesn't it? It siphons it through there. There's some action here, though, Paul. Looks like a set's approaching. A lot of kicking, a lot of splashing. Vaselko is motoring.
Here we go. Using the priority now. Under 50 seconds. Looking for 5-2-7. Gets one big hit. She's a bit deep on this one. We did speculate those two held themselves a little bit deep up the point. And that wave will just rattle off without her. Meanwhile, Hopkins just over 30, your heat leader. And she'll hit the lip straight into a bottom turn and just carves in that rail. And she thinks that's enough. She's out the watch. She comes through onto the inside. Just 20 seconds remaining now. Let's see if we can get vision on Vaselko, see where she is. Are there any more waves coming? Hopkins having a little look around. Let's have a look at the replay, Ben.
Yep, so this is after second wave. Nice first turn. This second turn she got stuck here. It's the first time she's really dug that rail like that in the heat, but luckily in this instance I think it's not going to be a big deal because it looked like there's her dad. She's pretty happy. Yeah, it looks like that last wave of Francisco was a big wave. It was a set wave. She did one big turn, needing a 5.27. I'm not sure that was going to be enough. So unfortunately, Francisco, that wave just didn't roll off. It was big. It was a good set. And it was just a little bit deep as we thought. You know, maybe it's been dragged out of position by Hopkins' sort of fierce sort of paddling around when she didn't have priority, perhaps. But anyway, looks like Yolanda is going to get through that one, and she's basically nervously waiting the scores till it's official. We can't actually, you know, she can't bank it, but she'll be pretty confident.
You'll wait for official confirmation. That will wrap up Heat 3 of our elimination round for the women's. It looks like Yolanda Hopkins, we just saw on the beach, getting the nod over Francisca Vaselko. Score still to come in, but 5-2-7 if it's the wave that we saw. Didn't see that on there. Let's just see though how our judges allocate a number to that before we make it official. See who's got that coveted spot in a quarter-final. Good surfing from Vaselko. Possibly with hindsight could have been a little bit busier, but for what we saw of her, she looked great.
Yeah, bright future I would say. Definitely got some big turns. That wave, she got that solid 6.5, the best wave of the heat. Surfed really well. So yeah, I think we'll see a lot more of her in future events for sure.
Official results are in. Yolanda Hopkins will be going through to the quarterfinals. We'll say bye to Francisca Vaselko. We're going back with more live action. Heat 4 of the elimination round is coming up. Aristobe taking on Lopez. We're also going to welcome one of our quarterfinalists into the booth. Pauline Addo will be joining Ben Mundy for the call for heat number 4. Join us for more live action after this.
First place was red, second place
And we are live back at the MEO Portugal Cup of Surfing. My name is Ben Mundy, and in excellent news for me, we are joined by Pauline Nadeau, the French legendary surfer who's down here surfing in this event. Pauline, welcome to the booth. This has become a bit of a habit. All the fans want you back.
Thank you. Yeah, I was. It's nice to comment and watch the waves from here too.
And how have you been finding Portugal? I mean, you've been down here so often, but how's it been the last sort of since we last talked in France?
No, it's been really good. I was first in Peniche for a couple of days, and then we moved here because we knew the contest was going to happen here, and now really good memories from here. I love it here.
Yeah, wicked. And you obviously won your heat yesterday, so that means it's quite nice to have a day off today. You don't have to sort of worry about competing just for a day, but I've seen you free surfing yesterday after your heat, and then you're obviously down today to check it all out. How important is it just to come down and sort of check out what's going on and see the surf and generally soak up the contest vibe?
Yeah, it's really important to spend time in the water here and also watch what's happening. And depending on the tides, the wave is really different. And I think positioning and wave selection in this spot are really important. So I'm trying to put as much time as I can out there and watching the comp also.
And when it worked yesterday, you had a great heat. You sort of got, didn't get a lot of waves. Classic. Often you're quite patient and you wait for the right waves. I think you only got 2 waves at the start that counted. So yeah, was that a strategy or just the way it panned out?
Well, I knew it was really slow, so yeah, my strategy was to be selective, but then I was hoping for a little bit more waves. But
well, speaking of waves, Nadia Aristobe is up on a backhand, really powerful, smooth style, and just clicks it up the top there, but can't quite finish that off. So yeah, you can see that she's a little bit annoyed with herself. She got a few waves, a few turns in, and then just that last sort of completion. So it's really, really important to get that last wave in. She didn't. Someone who completed most of the turns was Yolanda Hopkins, and she's down there with Diego.
Yeah, thanks, boys. I'm here with Yolanda Hopkins, heat winner. So, Yolanda, tough conditions out there, but you managed to make the heat and presenting us with the good surf.
Yeah, it was pretty tough. Like I knew the other girl, Kika, she surfs really good, and I was just looking for those open ones and trying to put some rail in and for some spray. Thank you, bro. And just try to put my surf out there and get a couple of scores.
You mentioned that you know Kika since ever. How is to face a colleague in a contest like this?
It's pretty nice. It's pretty nice that the Portuguese surfing is evolving. So good to get to the higher comps. I really like her surfing, and I knew it was going to be a tough heat, and just try to play smart and catch a couple waves.
Last question. What's the goals for the next season, 2021?
Oh, I think every girl that competes in WSL wants to qualify. So that is my goal. I'll try to start the year with some power on, and I'm going to have the rest of the winter to train and just train harder than ever. Start the next season like bigger than ever.
Okay. Good luck for that.
Thank you.
That was Yolanda Hopkins, heat winner of the previous heat.
Okay, yeah, thanks Diego and thanks Yolanda. Yeah, another QS young surfer fired up about qualifying, Pauline. I mean, there's hundreds and thousands of them out there in Portugal, in Australia, in Indonesia. Sure. So yeah, how is that just to see? I mean, so many young girls are all striving for that dream, and there's not many spots there, is there, available?
Yeah, only a few spots, and every year more and more girls are doing the tour and trying to qualify, and obviously the level is getting higher and higher. And she mentioned girls in Portugal. There's many of them competing and surfing really good, and I think it's the same thing everywhere now. Yeah,
exactly. It's and one of these surfers is Mifal Lopez, and she surfed really well on this wave. She just came around the corner, really strong, goofy foot style, wide stance, and just belts it, Pauline. What do you think about that wave? It's two big turns.
That was smart surfing. We saw Nadia. She fell off on the first wave, and Mifal made sure she didn't fall and came out a good score. 6 point is a good score out there.
That's the difference, isn't it? She finished off her wave. And 2 big turns. You don't always need lots and lots of waves. You just need or lots of turns on each wave. Just the bigger turns can count, can't they? So
yeah, if you can just make 2 good turns, and usually it starts to be a good score. So it's not about quantity really, it's about the quality of the turns.
And Paulina Day, you surfed so well in France. How did you sort of debrief after that event? I know it was a new event for everyone, and all the new way of doing things, and it was a new experience. But when it all finished up and that massive hurricane came in and you battened down, what were your sort of thoughts, or how did you unpack it for you personally?
Yeah, it was during that day the waves changed a lot. It was really challenging. I lost in the semis, but I thought I had a pretty good heat, and I just couldn't find that better wave to get a good score. But I mean, it's just I took it as a training. We haven't had many events, and obviously I want to be ready for next year. So it's always good to have those heats, and because we know we're gonna have those conditions and those kind of heats on the QS. So it was good experience overall, and also for this event.
Yeah, exactly. It's great to get back into it. As we see, Aristobe, the best surfer, on her backhand again. This wave's got a bit more sort of wall, nice turn, digs a little bit in, recovers, and the second one is up high. So sometimes you might get you to talk through that wave, Pauline, but sometimes if you get the first turn wrong or you catch the rail, then it can affect the second one, doesn't it? It's like a rhythm thing.
Yeah, and the thing here is some waves have bumps on them, so I think Nadia had a little bump on her first turn, and it was hard for her to maybe do her turn. But yeah, we'll see another angle.
Yeah, just the little rips in there, isn't there? And that match is a bit late for that one, and still finishes.
Yeah, she did good on the last turn because she was a bit late, but still managed to get vertical.
Yeah, she seems to have got that real backhand sort of goofy vertical style about her. Meanwhile, at the back, another goofy footer, Mifal Lopez, eyeing off this one. Just waits a turn. She puffs the cheek out, waiting for this one, and just does one big crack, gets the fins under. We went up and had a bit of a check at the waves just over the Pedro Branca, the left-hander over the rocks, which is a great wave. And we saw her coming out of the surf. She was ripping. So obviously really committed. One of those Portuguese surfers one of the powerful surf. That's what I was looking for. Thanks, Pauline. And she's a real up-and-coming talent. Let's have a little look at some of the work she's been doing recently.
I'm super happy to be invited to this camp. It's always like a big pleasure, and I'm super proud of competing with other girls from outside, like girls that are from the city. Portugal is a really good country to surf, probably one of the best ones, because we have a lot of good waves like Ericeira, Cox, Pedra Branca, and it's really close. You don't have to travel that much to get good waves, and usually there's always waves. It's like super rare that it's flat.
Yeah, so she's talking about that was a good time. I was talking about Pedro Branca, and then she brings up there's so many good reef breaks and waves around here, isn't there?
Yeah,
and
many options in Portugal.
Such a good a way to get become a good all-round surfer. And I'm always impressed too with the young Portuguese surfers, and yourself, Pauline, too. Just we make them speak in English. We come to your countries and we force you to speak the English tongue, which is I think quite rude personally. But anyway,
it's hard at first, I think, when you're growing up. But
especially so young, and to learn the language and try and get your thoughts across. It must be difficult, right? But you're so eloquent with, especially you, and you can see that Mifal that get their thoughts across. Not always easy to feel that pressure and then speak in a second language. So we do appreciate it, is what I'm saying, Pauline. It is really appreciated, because us Australians and especially aren't known for our linguist capabilities.
It's a good learning curve, really.
Yeah, especially when you travel so much.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, Mifal, and there's some big scores coming in too. So Nadia Aristobe got a 5.17 for her turn. That's that two-turn combo, and then Mifalda, we're listening to her, the judges got a 5.23. So solid scores from both surfers, and 18 minutes left to go on the clock.
Still a lot of times, but Yeah, Mafalda is doing, like, so far, no mistakes. She's doing good. But then it's only, I mean, not only, but 5 and 6 points. It's achievable in those conditions. So watch out for Nadia too.
And it looks like tomorrow we've got some more swell coming in, a bit bigger, a little bit of wind, but still fun. So, yeah, it could be a big day of competition. I mean, do you think about it, Pauline? You're now in the quarterfinal. So, 3 heats effectively. If you get the 3 heats, you take away potential trophy. Is that the way you think about it, or is it obviously you try and just think about that first matchup?
Yeah, I'm thinking about that first matchup. I'm thinking about the conditions, how it's gonna be, what kind of boards I'm gonna be riding. But I'm excited. Like you said, a bit more swell tomorrow, so maybe bigger, longer waves. So yeah, it's exciting.
And tonight, will you make all those decisions about your boards and pack all your boards? Will you know sort of by tonight what your plan is with your equipment and your timing wise? You all sort of made those decisions, or do you sometimes come down in the morning and?
I think tonight's gonna pick up a bit, so I'll definitely be looking. Oh, here is Nadia.
Okay, Nadia up and riding on a smaller wave. Gets that first turn in. Nice style. She's got such a strong backhand. Looking for some open face. See her eyes waiting up. It's another turn in. If she gets one more, she'll be happy here. And she's really putting all her energy into this. And another. So yeah, 3 or 4 turns. It wasn't that steep a face, but you could tell by.
She surfed it good.
Yeah, she really worked hard for that wave, didn't she? So we've just got this wave come in, and I'll get Pauline to talk us through this wave from the start.
Different angle. I really like the first turn, really square, and then the wave got a little bit fat, which is not what you want, but she did a really good job, really good work, and finished it. So yeah, it was good surfing. I don't know if it's gonna.
That first turn was the money turn, wasn't it? As you said, really square and vertical, and then unfortunately she didn't get an opportunity again to get that vertical in, but there's not much more she could have done, and a 6.06 is what she required, so she'll be there or thereabouts, you'd think. And back out there, still 30 minutes out here, Pauline. It's quite enough time, isn't it? With these setups. I mean, it must go fast, but it's good to have that extended time.
Yeah, I thought the same before my heat yesterday, and then after my 2 waves, I sat for 20 minutes. So, yeah, 30 minutes is a lot of time, but it can get pretty slow out there. So I think it's really what you need to run an event like 30 minutes heat.
Yeah, and you're from the outside in, look like one of the servers that you don't really need to catch a lot of waves to some servers love to stay busy and always be riding, but you're more of one that sort of waits and can be patient in these waves, which might play in your favour. But right now we're just going to have a bit of a break in proceedings. We're about the halfway mark of this stage. We're going to come back just after this commercial break and see who will get through to the quarterfinals of the MEO Portugal Cup of Surfing.
The Euro Cup introduces the MEO Portugal Cup of Surfing, presented by MEO, the official partner of the World Surf League; Tourism of Portugal, the official strategic partner of the World Surf League; Jeep, official vehicle of the World Surf League; and ADP, official partner of the World Surf League.
We are back live. I'm lucky enough to have booted Paul Evans out of the booth, and he's still come back to haunt me with the voiceover. But I'm joined by Pauline Nadeau, one of the French great surfers, and currently in through the quarterfinals of the MEO Portugal Cup of Surfing. And we're talking about that last wave of Nadia, and it's a big score, 7.33. Does that surprise you, Pauline? Was that whereabout you thought you may have had it?
I think the score came from that first turn, really, and it was a really nice turn. So the judges loved it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well played. Straight back there from Pauline. And yeah, she got that first square turn, as you said, and then reeled off, and it was enough to put in a solid score, which is one of the better scores of today, and it leaves her in first place, 12.5 peak total, and that means that Mifal Lopez, the Portuguese local, now needing a 6.51 to come in. So yeah, back to that. We're talking about trying to get ready for tomorrow and what your process were, but you'll come down tonight and either have a surf or at least check the conditions, and will that be what sort of determines what your board choice will be, will it?
Yeah, depending if it picks up tonight, I might try to ride a bigger board to see if I feel better with it or not, and if it doesn't pick up, then I'll just make that choice in the morning tomorrow. But yeah, just have kind of plan A, plan B in my head, and then I'll just decide depending on the conditions. But
and who are you working with? What boards have you been getting off recently? What's just sort of what's in your quiver?
Yeah, I've been surfing a lot of MEOs.
Right.
I think they work really good in all kind of conditions, and for me, when I'm surfing in events, you need to be able to push hard on your board, but also navigate the fat parts of the waves sometimes. So those boards work really well for me.
Yeah, they seem to be working well. It's such an important part of a surfer's job, isn't it? Getting those equipment right and getting the right boards, and it's a never-ending quest, isn't it?
Exactly. We spend a lot of time trying boards and trying to get the magic one.
Right. Okay. And speaking of magic boards, that we see Aristobe up on the inside. She's never priority, so you had to opt out, as we see Mifal Lopez can get two-turn combo in, and she did, and she clicked the fins out, and you can't see here, but Pauline Nadeau, my co-commentator, is nodding her head in approval, because that was you could see the fins out, couldn't you, on that second turn? It looked great.
Yeah, I think it was a really short wave, but she did everything she could have done on that wave. Two nice turns. Nadia took off, but had to give it to Mifal because she had priority, obviously.
Yeah, so she's coming across on this turn here. She didn't have a lot of time, did she, to do those two turns? Immediately had to go back up, but just enough time to get up in that section and give the judges something to think about, because a lot of these waves have been sort of more 3 or 4, like Nadia Aristobe's wave was a 7.33, but it had 5 or 6 turns.
Yep.
That was more just 2 quite powerful, short, sharp transitions. So judges will have to think about that. She requires a 6.51 to move up into first. So it's going to be interesting to see where that lands, and that could change the landscape of this heat with just on 10 minutes to go. She can she's waiting for the scores as well. That's another situation I'm interested in, Pauline. When you're waiting at the back, you haven't got the scores because sometimes they take a while to come in. But does that, when a wave comes, you have to make your mind up whether you're not knowing what the score you need or like that. Is that quite a sort of stressful time when you're not quite sure what the situation is?
Yeah, it's always better to know the situation and know if you need to be improving on your scoreline or kind of play more defense, if you're winning and the other girl doesn't get the score. So yeah, it's but then if a good wave comes, then you need to make a decision to go or not. So
Surf it
the main thing is to know if you can better your scores or not with the next wave. But you have to make that choice for every wave that comes. Yeah. So a lot of decisions, actually.
Yeah, a lot of decisions. That's why I'm fascinated to get you guys in the booth and pick your brains, because we just love seeing you guys surf and seeing that at elite level. But yeah, behind the scenes and inside the brain is a lot of stuff, a lot of processes going on.
You have to think about where you're gonna sit. You have many decisions. You need to pick whether you want to sit next to your opponent or not.
6 pontos é agora ao backup, Mafalda, mas continuas segunda e estás à procura agora de 6-4-4.
Okay, so a bit of a gap in proceedings. We were on hold for the men's next round, the elimination round. We're going to go down to Diego, who has the our contest organiser, Miguel Fortes, just to see what the current situation is and what's going to happen for the rest of the day. Diego, what have you got for us, mate?
Yeah, Ben, talking about making decisions, I got here the man himself, Miguel Forte. Miguel, what's the update for today?
So we just finished with the second round of girls, but we were waiting for doing the men's round, the second men's round in the afternoon, because now we have the high tide. The swell is already here, but we have high tide, so we're gonna wait. We're gonna give another call at 4 o'clock, and we hope it's gonna be bigger and finish the second round of men's today.
Okay, thanks, Miguel. There you have. The swell is already here. We just go on hold until 4 p.m. So stick with us.
Okay, so there you go. So we've got the swell, but now the tides have come in. It's always a constant balancing act, isn't it, between the tide and the swell and the wind. And yeah, you were nodding in agreement there with when the contest organiser talked about that. Not a bad call, Pauline, to try and wait for that bit of extra swell and see what it does on the lower tide. So
yeah, I think we get to pick the best windows, and so right now it's the mid tide. Earlier this morning the tide was too low and it wasn't consistent enough. So it's good that we have the time to pick the right windows.
And but how does that affect your afternoon plans for you? I knew you had the late night session out here planned, so you're already going. I can see your brain going tick 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 tick. Okay,
hopefully I can still catch a few waves after the comp, or maybe before they start the men's.
Yeah, you got well, yeah, around 4 hours to work it out. So yeah, that's a good call. We like it. There's still plenty of waves on offer, but you know we've got these guys in all the CT stars are coming up in the in the men's, aren't they? The Kanoa Igarashis and Leo and Freddie Moraes and Jadson. I mean, it's absolutely stacked. So we want to pick the absolutely best waves. So good call from our contest organiser. And we just seen that score it dropped from Mifal to Lopez while we were talking to that score. It was a 6.07.
And she needed a 6.5.
Yeah, she needed a 6, thereabouts. So not enough. Gets her closer, but that two-turn combo just wasn't enough to get her over the line, despite it being quite radical. So we're going to have a look at the heat recap and see how we've arrived at this stage with 5 minutes on the clock. And this will be the last heat of the elimination round before we go on a bit of a break. And there on screen is Mifal Lopez. Needs a 6.44. She's got 5 minutes with which to do that. Easily get it. So here we go. It was a pretty strong start from both surfers, Pauline. The two goofy foots have been impressive from the start.
Yeah, they're both strong surfers on their backhand.
So Mifal has just been getting those sort of quicker waves, just doing sort of two turns, like the bigger waves, but without as much open face. She's got a really radical turn, sort of aggressive style there, and just whipped it around. That was for a 6. And this is Nadia, the bass surfer. She too is on same sort of similar approaches in many ways, aren't they, Paul? In the two surfers.
Yeah. Except for that wave that Nadia got, the 7 was a longer wave, really strong first turn, and she finished good. So
yeah, that's been the difference of the heat, really. This wave, she got that first really solid turn in, and unlike all the other waves, it then did provide an open face for sort of 4 or 5 more turns. So back to live action though. Aristobe, the current heat leader, trying to improve on her 5.17. She's done 2 swooping turns. Back to the foam. Another little cut back. She's waiting just a bit of sort of steeper face. There it is there. Cracks the top. She's milking it all the way, and there's a nice turn. If she can hold on to that, she can. So solid surfing from the bass surf, the current heat leader, trying to improve on a 5.17.
3 minutes.
And she may well do that with this wave. What'd you like about this wave, Pauline? Which turns sort of floated your boat?
The wave was a bit fat at the beginning, but the last turn was really committed. So she only needs to improve on a 5.17. Yeah, but it's hard to pick the waves out there. it's hard to tell if the wall is gonna stand up or if it's gonna stay flat.
Yeah, it's almost sometimes a bit of a lottery, isn't it? Even though you're on the right spot in the reef and you know where to sit and it's a set, you never can quite tell what's going to happen when you take off.
The face is a bit windy too, and the tide is coming in. So.
And we see Nadia getting a 5.77 for that wave, so that does improve the score. And that means Mifal Lopez, the Portuguese hope, now needing a 7-point ride to take the lead with 3 minutes on the clock. Looking at that one, probably wisely thought that one of those sort of fatter faces. 2.5 minutes on the clock. We're back to that situation, Pauline. You must have been in this situation hundreds and hundreds of times in your career where you're facing down the barrel. And, how hard is it just to stay calm and just think, try and back yourself in a situation that Mafalda is in?
Well, right now, there is either the wave comes or not. You just have to make the right decision about which wave you're going to catch if you have the opportunity. So yeah, I've been in that situation, and sometimes you don't get any opportunity, sometimes you do. I think you just have to stay focused on what you wanna, on the way you wanna surf the wave if it comes, and what you need to do to get the score, what the judges are looking for. But right now she has priority, and she just needs to wait for that opportunity.
And how good is that feeling? It must be one of the best feelings in surf when you get that buzzer beater, as they're known, where you got your score wave on the hooter and you get the score. It's the exhilaration of that must be incredible.
It's pretty stressful, but if you get that score, it's the best feeling ever. And we are all competitors, and we love those moments. Those moments when you're under pressure, when you might be in doubt, but then you just stay focused and put on a good performance and get that score.
Yeah, that's exactly what Mafalda Lopez needs right now. She needs to just a wave to turn up. She needs a big score, and if she wants that feeling of exhilaration and excitement and pride that Pauline Neda just talked us through, then she's going to need it in the next 50 seconds. It's a big ask, but not impossible. And Aristobe just sitting right next to her. She makes sure she knows it looks a little bit quiet on there in the ocean. No more sinking feeling than just trying to will a set in, trying to do everything she can. She's looking at this little lump. She's running out of time. She knows she has to pull the trigger at some stage. Looks like she is on this one. This is the last throw of the dice. So Mafalda Lopez up on a wave, driving down the line. First turn's important. Gets one turn in, driving more, and it seems to be going a bit ahead of her. And that is a wave that is not going to give her that feeling of exhilaration. It's going to be a bit of a frustration and annoyance. She couldn't do much more on that wave. Just didn't cooperate. She surfed really well and put up a great fight, but unfortunately she's not going to get that score. And Nadia Aristobe, the Bass surfer, not far from your part of the world, Pauline, is going to get through to the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's the final heat of the elimination round of the MEO Portugal Cup of Surfing. Pauline Neda, it's been another pleasure to have you in the booth. I think you're actually getting a name for yourself for this. Your smooth talking in the microphone. But wish you all the best for tomorrow.
Thank you.
Hope you have a good surf either before the start today or afterwards. And good luck tomorrow. Bon chance.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Pauline Neda. So she's going to go up there and warm up those mayhems. And we are now on a break. We'll get the official results from that last heat, which saw the Aristobe, the goofy footer, outpace and outmaster Mafalda Lopez, the local Portuguese goofy footer. So that's the official result. Nadia through. We're going to soon come back after this break. We'll come back with a short wrap up of today's action from the elimination round. Don't go anywhere, folks.
Sunny midday skies in Portugal at Ribeira del Ilhas as our quarterfinals are decided for the women's side of the draw. And we started off a little bit of a grey morning this morning with kind of tricky conditions. That swell has filled in. We decided our quarterfinalists. Been the stories. It's a bit of drama there, Ben. Bit of contrast between one heat and another, but a lot of action to unpack from today's surfing so far.
Yeah, 4 heats. With elimination rounds, there's a lot of pressure, a lot of intensity. We started off slow. The first heat was, a little bit dogged by some poor waves. But then, as the morning progressed, the sun came out, the tide came in, and there was some really good surfing from these young European sort of stars of the future.
Yeah, let's think Carolina Mendez in that second heat of this elimination round. The commitment she showed right from the beginning, and it wasn't like she put the score up and then kind of sat back. She kept with that commitment all the way through. That's really impressive. Great heat.
Yeah, exactly. She surfed so well and ended up on the rocks many a time as a means of her commitment. But yeah, she ripped. So she's through the quarterfinals. So there's some really good matchups coming our way.
Let's have a look at the final bracket and see how we're shaping up. Here we go. There's our quarterfinalists. Anat Lelio looked great yesterday, taking on Camila Cardoso. Got through a tough heat this morning. Joanne Fay, the Jeep leader jersey. She'll be taking on Carolina Mendes. That's going to be a great clash. Two of the informed surfers. Pauline Neda out of France, formerly the World Tour. We just had her in the booth, giving her insights into that last one, taking on Yolanda Hopkins. Another big contrast in style there. And wrapping it up, quarterfinal for Teresa Bonvolo. The smooth, goofy foot from Cascais taken on. Slightly more aggressive-based approach from Neda Aristobe. Just saw her rip through that final heat of the elimination round. That's how it's stacking up for our women's quarterfinalists. We're going to get some more intel exactly how it was out there. Nadia Aristobe is standing by with Diogo.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. I'm here with the heat winner, Nadia Aristobe. Nadia, first of all, congratulations. Tough conditions out there. Can you tell us how is it out there?
Thank you. Yeah, the conditions are really hard. Very few sets were coming, but I managed to catch 2 waves and make it through, so I'm happy.
How hard is to face Mafalda Lopes in these kind of conditions? We know that Mafalda is European junior champ. You know her for so long. How difficult it is to face her in these conditions?
Yeah, I had a lot of contests with Mafalda, a lot of heats, and she's a really great surfer. Backside, it's incredible, her backside, and she's for Portugal, so I guess she knows really good this wave. I was scared for competing with her, but I tried to do my best.
So congratulations again and muchas gracias. Back to you, boys.
All right, Ishkara Nadia, good performance from her through to the quarterfinals. We're going to go on hold for a couple hours here, about 3.5 hours. Just going to let that tide top out and then go back out mid-tide, our favourite section of the reef. Miguel Fortes, our contest director, has made a call. 4 o'clock local time. So 3.5 hours from now, join us back, worldsurfleague.com. Men's elimination round. We've got some great heats stacking up for that. Let's check out some highlights for this morning. We'll see you later on this afternoon.